I'd like to call the Northwood Board of Selectmen meeting to order on March 27, 2018 at 5:58 p.m. Roll call. Don Huston here.
Scott Pryor here.
Beth Boudreaux here.
We will now start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is appointment of chairperson.
I will make a motion to appoint Donald Hodgson.
I'll accept for voting. Take a vote.
I need a second.
Oh, I can't second my own.
I second.
I'll take a vote. Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain. I'll nominate Scott Pryor as vice chair.
I second that.
Scott, do you accept?
Yes.
I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Okay. On to citizens forum. Anybody want to speak?
It's a slideshow. Yeah, one at a time. Jim Valancourt, 34 Cove Way. This is a 3-foot by 4-foot by 6-inch cardboard box that I got just last week. And I have it ready to go to the transfer station. Now I realize that not all of my neighbors agree that a box that large should go to the transfer station in this form so that it can be properly compacted. And that's the way it is in town. We don't all agree about how things should be done at the transfer station. But there is one thing that's indisputable. And the indisputable fact is that the transfer station is 4.6% of the town budget. You can do the math. And only 20% less than the library, and the library has 3 elected trustees to watch out for it. The transfer station. It's not a dump where trash is put in the ground and forgotten. It's a transfer station where Northwood solid waste is temporarily staged in its course to its eventual final destination, which could be a landfill, a paper recycling plant, a metal recycling plant, or other recycling processing facility. The transfer station is the first place where residents unload their waste and start the first step in the separation of it into waste, paper, plastic, tin, aluminum, metal, furniture, brush, and so forth. That may be all that our neighbors see about the transfer station, but there's a lot more that goes on there. It should be the place where residential waste is pre-screened and inappropriate items are removed and appropriate items are stored and packed together until they can be reloaded onto vehicles and headed towards other recycling facilities. I've always believed that Northwood is not large enough of a town to have a transfer station for recycling. Barnstead, Chichester, Epsom, and Pittsfield recognized many years ago that by combining their waste, they could generate enough volume to make money at recycling. But here we are. We have a transfer station, and it is your responsibility to manage it by balancing citizen need and governmental regulation. For me, at this moment, neither citizen need nor government regulations are getting their just due. You know, you won't read my editorials in The Sun because I don't put them there. I come here to stand in front of the people who are responsible for a problem and try to point out the problem and possible solution. The responsibility of putting that balance back into the management of Northwood's transfer station sits clearly on your desk. The buck stops with you, right here at the Board of Selectmen. This winter, with no appreciable town growth, the trash compactor overflowed into furniture and solid waste containers regularly. I do not want to cloud the essential issue here with a discussion of cost or it all going to the same place or that you've purchased a larger compact container. Perhaps all of that will help. For me, the issue is one of 3 things. First, ineffective management of pulling the containers at the right time 2, recycled items are increasingly finding their way into the waste compactor. Or 3, a combination of both of those. No matter which one or all of them that it is, you have control over them. Will it take work to fix them? Yes, it will. Will it involve uncomfortable discussions? Yes, it will. Will it involve uncomfortable decisions and implementation of those decisions? Yes, for a third time. But finding and implementing solutions is doable. Before you go throwing more money at the transfer station, hoping that it will go away, I ask you to consider the following. What is the purpose of the Northwood transfer station? With that answer, clean up the facility, please. Not a cleaning in the housekeeping sense of broom and paint and water, rather a cleaning to create an effective and efficient process for our citizens to use. You would go a long way, in my opinion, toward a solution if you required a meet every vehicle policy, with a smile, a helpful hand, a lollipop, a dog biscuit, or information. That brief visit is all about helping waste get into its rightful place with less effort.
Used to happen.
I doubt in my lifetime we'll ever get every Northwood resident on the same recycling page. But it is within your reach, I believe, to get the Board of Selectmen, the town administrator, and the transfer station staff on the same page, all rowing in the same direction. Recently, Subway at the Epsom traffic circle was advertising for help on their sign. Now, I mean no disrespect to Subway employees, but $10.25 an hour to make sandwiches. We pay $10 an hour for our transfer station attendants. There are many similarities in their job. A customer wants something and they give it to them. A customer has a question and they answer that question. But our transfer station attendants have to stand before our residents and set a price for disposal of a couch, construction debris, electronics, etc. There is no big sign over their head that says, your couch is $5. They are the management of the transfer station, unlike the Subway employees. They have to decide when to pull the containers, when the aluminum cans need to be pushed back because there's no more room, when things are blown out across the ground and they need to be picked up. They have to tell some folks without a sticker that they can't leave their waste. No Subway employee does that. Perhaps you need to look at what they do and what other towns do with pay and responsibility at their transfer stations. You are also responsible for keeping Northwood in line with state RSAs. You have a sign out in the lobby. You have a sign out in that lobby that states that no burning of trash is allowed. But you do it every time you light the burn pit. Cardboard beer containers litter the left burn pit every time it burns. That is trash. After a burn this summer, there were 7 paint cans on the bottom of the pit. 7 paint cans. The pit is licensed, yes. The burning is legal in New Hampshire, yes. However, Northwood's implementation of a legal burn, I believe, is rarely done. Painted wood, treated wood, plywood, paint cans, cardboard boxes are just some of the trash that should not be burned but is. In my opinion, the types of burns we've been doing would not pass New Hampshire RSA. There are many interesting ideas out there and about that could be brought into concrete discussion. The only one that seems to be getting any traction is the swap shop, but other ideas are partnering with several towns to buy a glass crusher that could be shared on a schedule so that we could crush our glass and use it. Separating out the cardboard from the paper so that we could get more per load. Narrowing down the recycling of plastics to simply 1 and 2s so that again we could get more money for our load. And posting a sign and the cost of materials that need to be paid for. Finally, I would ask you to think of your great-granddaughter and her future living here in Northwood. We don't know the full effect of acid rain on our environment. 15th century cathedrals in Europe that have stood for centuries have crumbled rapidly in the last 20 years. We can see that. What we can't see is the corrosion of heavy metals off electronic equipment and refrigerators left out in the rain, or what is coming off in parts per million from the open scrap metal container. These, to me, look like very easy fixes. Yes, the justification is difficult because you can't see anything, but the solution is simple and perhaps will have a positive effect on our great-granddaughters' lives. My recycling committee position expires on March 31st. I was part of a wonderful committee, committed environmentalists who had wonderful suggestions. Yes, perhaps some of the recommendations were pushing what a small town like Northwood can do, but is our smallness as a town an excuse for not doing what we can? I still think not. The transfer station is 4.6% of our budget. It is used by more people per week than the library, by more than our police department deals with, and thankfully by more than our fire department does as well. It is an important part of town today, and the effects of the way it is managed will impact the future of Northwood more than, I fear, a lot of people understand. You, the Board of Selectmen, need to act. It is a large task. You need help. Engage the facility committee. Put out a call for volunteers for a new recycling committee and name it the Transfer Station Advisory Committee. Please stop looking past yourself for a solution. You are in charge. You are responsible. Grab the buck by the horns and act in a way that balances our neighbors' needs and governmental regulations. I thank you for allowing me to go over my 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Going once?
Good evening. My name is Keith McGuigan. I live on Kelsey Mill Road. I just want to, first I'll say I'm humbled to follow Mr. Valancourt. I find it hard to follow in his footsteps, though I agree with everything he said. Number one, I'd like to thank all three of you, especially for stepping up to serve the town. I think it's a thankless job. It's a hard job. I don't think many people understand the amount of work it takes, and the amount of time you put in, and the amount of time away from your families. And I want to say for myself that I totally appreciate it. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Second off, congratulations to Ms. Boudreau for winning this election. I think this election has shown that the town is really looking in a positive direction, and I really hope that all of you keep that in mind, that we're trying to move forward. I think everybody wants the same things. Everybody wants the town to move forward and to be successful. And I don't know. I guess just wanted to point that out, that we should all be keeping that in our forefront of our thoughts. So thanks.
Anybody else? Seeing no more public comment, I'll close citizens forum. We'll move on to appointments. I guess CDS Custom Wood Products isn't here, so we'll move on to Vina Dow. Come on up.
Okay. My rolling chair. You guys got this information, I assume?
Yeah,
Paperwork?
we're good.
The first page is things that have been donated so far, and I have several people who have said they will donate other things.
Great.
Okay, I think it's wonderful. To finish off the building, I have the electrician's quotes. And I don't think you have those in your packages, right?
I got two of them.
You have? Okay. Lee Harris said he was going to give us a quote, and he didn't. And I called several times, but and I actually spoke to him a week ago. So I don't know what you want to do about that. But anyway, we have the quotes for the electrical, and we can't really proceed until the electrical is done. That's the first thing we have to do. Okay?
So, clarification.
Go ahead.
When you say you have the quotes for electrical, do I have a quote from the vendors? Oh,
I don't know if
so
you
we
got
didn't, no, we didn't
I
get
don't-
copies of quotes.
Want me to wing them?
No,
No?
I'll get you.
I've looked over a lot of this list. Some of this is, obviously, we put the pole there for electricity, so we might as well put the electric. But some of this other stuff isn't a necessity, it's a want.
No, I don't know what you mean.
Well, we don't have to put vinyl flooring.
No, we don't. We have
Don't
several
have to-
options for
We don't
flooring.
have to paint the inside.
Why would you not want to?
Not saying we
seal the
wouldn't, I'm
wood,
just saying
wouldn't
we
it,
don't
with
have
painted?
to.
It would.
There's a want and a need, there's a different thing. To Jim's point, to spend money here instead of putting it towards something that we can use it for that will better the transfer station is
It all betters the transfer station, anything that we do
I don't know,
at the
I'd rather
transfer
buy,
station
I'd
betters
rather spend more time training our employees than buying paint to paint the walls.
it. Well, whatever.
That's
But
just the
this
way I
is a list
feel.
of all the things that we need to finish the building, and it doesn't seem to make much sense if we don't. do
My
it.
other question is why wasn't this in the original quote when we did the building?
Because you only wanted the building. I had all of this, and I was told you only wanted to do the building first, and then we would move on from there. But it doesn't make any sense. I mean, we don't have to have vinyl floors. We can paint the floors. I mean, it's not a real big deal.
Were you thinking vinyl because people walking in with wet
Yeah.
boots and stuff?
Yeah, you know. But like I said, it's a high-traffic area. But I have a quote from Lowe's for, and I don't know if that's in your package or not, Lowe's for the flooring. And I have samples of the flooring
$1,000.
here. Yeah, it was,
It's an expensive floor for a swap shop.
well, that's what I'm saying, but we do have options, but I felt that you wanted to have options, so these are the options. Wilder actually gave us a price for, he said he would give us the vinyl at his cost, but then we would have to have it put down, or we would have to put it down ourselves, and I'm sure we could have found somebody to do it, but I thought his was kind of high for just the vinyl. It was $438 for just, you know, the flooring. You know, that's his. But Lowe's has one, and these are the two pieces, and they're heavier than what you would put in your home.
Yeah.
So for wear, and these were $257. And then if you had them put it in, then the price goes up, of course. But it's all here for everything except the electrical and the flooring. It's only $1,581 for everything on this list.
How much is it?
Talking another
$1,581.
$3,000 to get everything
All
that she
right.
wants.
So, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Help yourself.
So, how much was it all together again? I'm sorry.
It's for, not including the electrical and the flooring, it's $1,581.
Okay.
For all, well,
Buy the materials.
for all of the materials and the paint, everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have volunteers who are willing to come in and paint and do everything that has to be done. We're not, the only thing that we're buying for shelving and things are 2 metal 5-tier, 4-foot wide steel shelvings. That's it. That's like, I think it was less than $200.
There's
But
one
we're
on the
gonna
Facebook
use-
yard sale page right now. Did you see that?
Oh, really?
Metal shelving. Carrie Halka selling it.
We could get it free. That'd be even better.
Yeah.
I like free.
Can I just say a clarification on something? Because I always have, so you have volunteers doing this.
Right.
What happens, just being precautious with liability and stuff, what happens if a volunteer gets injured while doing
Well-
some of this work?
I was under the impression that we had to sign something, or you had a volunteer thing. Didn't we talk about that the last time when it was mentioned that we had volunteers down there?
Well, I just question, would that be covered under our liability insurance?
Volunteers.
The painting we can get done,
typically
if we
are.
decide to do painting, we can have done by the prisoners. That will solve that problem.
Okay, well, I just couldn't get, sorry.
Volunteers are typically covered if they're working for a specific purpose. If it is somebody not at the direction of the town, volunteering their time,
So it
that's
just has
where
to
it
be,
gets
it just has to
questionable,
be
but-
coordinated by the town.
correct. And it is something that I can notify the insurance company of ahead of time also, just so we're extra aware of.
And as far as the walls go, I spoke to several people, and in this application, 3/8-inch plywood would be better on the walls and ceiling than sheetrock, because, well, a lot of people are banging around and stuff. And the plywood is $511 for 27 sheets, I guess. And we're going to do the ceiling and the walls.
I kind of, if I can follow up question, I kind of, a little, I can maybe, I'm not sure, do we have, my understanding was we were gonna put a building up there and use it as a swap, yeah, I know, as a swap shop. And then I'm kinda questioning why we have to do all this interior work.
Sounds like we're building a house.
Well, I mean, it's just,
Honestly.
we've
It's
got,
just for people to go, like
That's
people.
exactly, it sounds like we're building a
Can I-
house.
Mr. Chairman,
Go
can I finish? I envisioned this and I agreed to purchase this building, but my understanding was people were gonna leave stuff in.
right.
If somebody could take it, they'd take it out. Nobody's gonna be, I mean.
Nobody's gonna be living
Yeah,
there,
I
of
know,
course
so I
not. We
mean,
want it.
why do we have
but
to have sheet rock and,
We're not having sheetrock, we're having plywood, but anyway.
well, why do we
on
have to have, just tell me why we need the plywood.
Well, just to finish the walls off, that's all.
Why do we need to have
Well, I
the
mean,
walls
if it's
finished?
gonna be-
Why do we need to have the walls
If it's
finished?
gonna be wired, right, and you're gonna have outlets,
Oh, you don't want
et
exposed
cetera, et cetera.
wiring, right?
And Billy
you just
Johnson
drop 'em
has
and drop 'em.
donated
There's no outlets, right?
We're not going
spray-in
crazy.
insulation. Right. It's
But
gonna
why
be,
does it need to be insulated?
well, people are gonna be in there. Why wouldn't you
Sure.
want it?
For how
The
long?
one that we have now
Yeah,
has,
you know, I
we've
don't-
never,
5 minutes,
listen,
10 minutes?
in the 14 years I've worked at the transfer station, the swap shop that's up there now has never once had heat in it. Never once. Actually, that building used
Yes,
to
it
be.
has.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has. When I first
All right,
started there, it
listen.
had a wood stove.
I-
And
that's-
then it had an electric heater.
When I first started, there was 3 attendants, okay? One stayed up at the top of the hill. 2 were down at
Yes,
the bottom.
they did.
They got rid of the 3rd attendant because the town didn't feel like they needed one. And at that time, that's when it became the swap shop. There was a little plug-in electric heater that was run only when you were there, but the
That's
walls
right.
were never insulated. There was never an inside wall. They were never painted. None of
No,
that.
but that doesn't mean we can't
I'm just saying
upgrade
that
a
it's
little
not
bit.
necessity. We
Well, it's not
worked on
really,
it.
but we have the money for it. It's not, why not finish the building?
Just because we have the money for it doesn't mean we shouldn't use that money for something else. To Jim's point, we have other things that we could spend the money that would help the transfer station in another way.
I haven't seen it yet. Is the outside painted?
Yeah, the outside
Right.
it came all done. Everything's,
Alright.
it's basically a
The
brand new shed.
outside is primed.
Okay, it's primed.
It's painted.
So, just a follow-up too, and I'm just asking a question. What are we talking about for electricity? Do
The-
you put
oh.
lights in there? or-
One light, drop
4
light.
overhead lights,
Yeah,
you know, and then just maybe 3 plugs, 4 plugs.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, I didn't see the necessity of having more than 2 plugs, but the electrician seemed to think that we needed more than that if you used it in some other application down the line. That was the reasoning behind the plugs and switches.
Well,
The
what-
only thing that the building inspector said was that we needed a lighted exit sign over the door. That was figured in the electrical.
Yep.
And I guess, did you say you had copies of the
That's why
electrical?
we put the pole there.
yeah.
As far as the other stuff, I'm on the fence with it.
I mean, a lot of people are thrilled with this building. They think it will encourage people to recycle, actually. But you don't have the.
I gotta stop you right there. That building's not gonna encourage anybody to recycle their trash any different.
You want these.
I think
Encourage them to bring in swap shop items, but it's not gonna change what they put in their trash barrel.
It would
it's
give
like
them a
shopping
different-
for free.
Yeah, it's
not gonna
wonderful.
change what
It
they're
would
recycling.
change their mindset, I think.
Can I keep these copies, or,
Sure.
okay. I can give them back to you tomorrow. I'll keep them
Yeah,
and make
that'd be
copies for
fine.
myself.
So what do you
That'd be
wanna do?
fine. Do you want
Go
the,
with the electrical and
do
then
you want the,
table the rest?
Well, I don't, I'd like to get the electrical done.
you have all of this, right?
Did we have to
Yes, I
paint
have
the
all.
inside though to seal it? Like just like paint the wall?
No, it's basically what we have right now is a shed. So it'd be like just.
Like, so it's plywood walls with like 2x4s?
Yeah,
Look at
it's just
these
like, so when you
two
walk through a
quotes that
shed,
she would do for the
The
electrical.
electrical.
Yes.
instead of like,
Just
the
unfinished
walls,
then?
it's just unfinished.
Okay.
It's like a shed. Basically what we have in there now.
Okay.
Beth, do you have this?
Is there
do.
some
Thank you.
significant difference between one quote, because one quote.
One was 1,600 and Obi was 29, I think. And I was told that you normally have Obi do your work, so.
Okay, which one is it? Oh,
Obi's is,
are they both qualified electricians?
yeah, this one's
They're
Robert
both
Stewart.
licensed, correct?
Obi is the one that does everything for the town, I was told.
But I'm saying.
And that one is
if
supposed to
they're
be
both-
yeah.
Are they both registered licensed electricians?
Supposedly, yes.
Because this other bid's quite a bit.
I know it's quite a bit different.
And my question would be, is there something that was in this bid that was left out of this
No,
bid?
they both got the same paperwork.
They're both the 4 lights and the 4 outlets and 1 switch
Everything, yeah.
with the electric
Right.
exit.
Could we check some references on this Robert Sawyer?
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to take the bid of $1,620 for Robert Sawyer based on, you know, check out his references.
Can you add to that motion for that money to come out of the transfer station fund?
I could. And
If that's where it's coming from,
that
right?
could come out of the transfer station expendable trust fund.
I'll second. For any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote.
Aye.
Kate, I'll just add that when you meet with Joe tomorrow, or whenever you meet with him, a lot of this stuff on the back page, I don't know if it comes out of his line or the sanitation line, but the Windex,
Yeah,
the
I
paper
didn't know where
towels,
that came from.
the Lysol wipes, the wastebasket, that should all be coming out of that part of the budget.
Is there,
I don't know if it's his line or if it's the sanitation line, but he should be generating the PO for us or for you to get that stuff.
right, and are you gonna authorize
I think you're,
a,
well, I believe like trash bags,
All
you should
of
be
the
having trash
purchasing?
bags there anyways.
right,
Rubber gloves, those should already be there anyways. Lysol cleaner, that's basic cleaning, he should be having that stuff there too. Paper towels, I believe he's already got that stuff there too, we get that, I believe, at the hardware store. So a lot of this stuff is probably already within our vendor runs anyways, so it's just a matter of getting him on board to take care of whatever loose ends we need.
okay?
Is that it?
Do you wanna talk to Joe about getting the,
Well, we
Getting the
can, but at the
supply?
moment, we have no place to put any of that stuff.
okay,
I mean, you can't leave it in the swap shop because if we
Well,
don't have a closet for it to lock, it'll
The
disappear.
thing,
They're
the
gonna
thing
think
with
they
the,
can
the
swap
thing with
the
the, the
Lysol.
thing with this, the thing with this cleaner is, I'm not looking at buying this cleaner just specifically for the swap shop.
No,
When
it
you
it
get
could
that
be-
cleaner,
yeah, yeah.
it should be
And Joe
for
can use it,
everything.
yes.
So you can
And-
store it either down in the highway department building where, in the flammable cabinet, or in their office. That's what they have an office for, we have space within the highway department that we could use some stuff for. We're not gonna just store all of this in the swap shop. That's not the purpose of this. You can't just buy specific things just for that.
We need, if there's an electric heater in that swap shop, we need a closet to put it in because it will disappear. It will be swapped. Because people, you can't put people-
Not if the attendant
Yes,
or
if
the
there is-
volunteer is paying attention, it
If there is
shouldn't.
somebody there, that would
Maybe
be
a sign
wonderful,
right there
yeah.
saying this is,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, do not
yeah,
take, but
Please don't take it.
And one of the, lost my train of thought. It's gone. It would make a big difference in the swap shop if the volunteers are there. And what I would like to do eventually is to schedule a time so that it's covered all the time the transfer station is open, you know? And that would be,
can I ask why we put the door facing the glass pit? That
because
makes
I
no-
was told
makes
that
no
when the
sense.
lagoon runs over, it runs right down that hill, and I'd prefer not to step out my door and step into
No.
lagoon sludge.
So why didn't you put the door facing the actual building so you could see people going in and out of it?
On the front of on the long side of the building?
Yeah, why don't you
No.
turn it this way?
No, we didn't have room
Okay.
with parking. We're kind of limited.
Kind of defeats the purpose
Well,
of
we're
why
kinda
we...
limited in
Just
space.
defeats the purpose of why we put it there in the first place. 'cause
That's
the
why it
people-
would be wonderful
people
if we
can't
had
see people coming
volunteers
in and
there.
out of it. We put it over there so they'd be able to pay attention to who's going in and out of it. But now with the door over here, instead of
They
in the
can still
front,
see.
That way
you
they're not
can't
walking
see.
out
still
into
see.
traffic
You
too.
can't
They can
see.
still see. But
No, it doesn't, it defeats the purpose of why we put it over in that area.
whatever you think, Donald. But that's, you know, this is why with the closet and things, we could put things that the girls need rubber gloves, they need trash bags, we need things. So I thought a closet would be nice to lock and keep the broom in and whatever we need, you know?
I love the donations, that's really nice.
The donation's wonderful, and we've
Yeah.
had several other people that are willing to donate things, but they haven't committed to it
Right.
just yet.
Thank you.
But everything that we do for volunteers and free is wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. Move on.
Thank you, Vina.
To, any unfinished business? Additional? Move on to new business? New business, acceptance of minutes.
I'll make a motion to, I gotta pull them out here.
DJ, do I vote on those? I wasn't here for the minute.
Doesn't matter to me either way.
No, I would abstain since you
thank you.
were
Yeah.
not here.
Yeah, you probably should abstain
you.
on that.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept the work session minutes of March 6th of 2018.
Second.
I'm fine with them.
Call for vote.
Aye.
All in favor, aye. Motion passes 2-0.
No, motion passes 2.
0, 1 abstained.
One abstention.
Gonna do the other one, February 27th? We're just gonna
Sure.
skip that one.
No, I can go on. Make a motion to accept the minutes of February 27th.
Second. Any discussion?
I was fine with them.
Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 2-0, 1 abstained. Various, what do you have for assessing?
We have 2 reports of timber cut, 1 disability exemption, and 2 administrative abatements with refunds. Would you like them one at a time? The whole pile? Okay. And
Oh, is it the
printed out
summary?
a summary.
Um, So this timber cut already took place. We don't really need a motion for this. We're just signing it because.
Yes, right. It's just a report of cut.
Okay.
So the permit, or it's not necessarily a permit.
No. Okay. Just checking. Those 2 signatures there. That next one, that Weeks Living Trust, what's that for?
I believe it's also a report of cut.
Okay. So,
Yeah, so they've already gotten the intent to cut approved. I believe this is just the report out of their cutting.
okay. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve a disability exemption be granted on 45 Oak Street, map 122, lot 98. Assessors recommending the disability exemption be granted.
Second.
This will result in a $35,000 reduction of the assessed value of the residence. And discussion.
Do they state a reason? Because that's a pretty hefty amount.
Well, they get a disability exemption.
All right,
and
so
it's
that's what it is. It's not like they're obsessing their house.
It's a 35, I mean,
So
if
it's
you
an
look at the
exemption, it's not
statute.
that they're changing the assessed value of the
No,
home.
they're
All
getting
right,
a-
then never mind, I'm good. I thought it was changing
I
the
mean,
assessed
let
value.
me take a look here, but I'm assuming that's what, is that your understanding?
Yep, it is just an exemption, so it's
They're not
the,
changing the assessed value.
right,
They're
and the
just
amount would
giving
have
it-
been voted at town vote,
All right,
whenever
oh, that's fine.
the town voted on that.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0.
Okay,
You didn't print,
I'll get it when you're done.
let me do it for you.
Sure. So then we got this administrative abatement, 1097 First New Hampshire Turnpike, map 217, lot 33. The amount to be abated is $86.09.
Second.
Discussion. So the reason stated on here for the abatement is the assessor visited the property on February 22nd and found that the measurements, quality, year built, building category listed on the assessment card were not representative of this property. The original building was a 1968 mobile home with additions in fair to poor condition for its age. I also removed 3 sheds that are no longer there and reclassified 1 metal shed to better reflect the value. So,
Any more discussion?
Nope.
Seeing none, call for the vote.
aye.
Aye.
Aye, all, motion passes 3-0.
Okay. Okay, and then this is also 1097 First New Hampshire Turnpike. Map 217, lot 33. So this is recommending an abatement at 1035.59.
I'll second for discussion.
Yeah, is this, I guess I'll ask, is this a different
Yeah, they have a house on the hill and then they have a house down there. It's like a subdivision.
Right.
The house here, like it's the house right next to Northwood Oil. You have that house that's kind of, it's technically like the driveway's on Blake's Hill, but they classify it as that lot. And then the other house, the driveway's on Route 4.
Right.
So I visited, so his saying I visited property, found that the metal shed garage that cost $1,500 new in 2005 was assessed for $4,100. I adjusted the value to $400 based on the age and condition. I also found a deck that was not assessed and added that to the assessment card. Anybody else got any other questions?
I'm good. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Is that aye?
And I believe that's all your assessing items.
Yep, that is all.
Manifest?
Yes. So this week was a payroll week. Last week was an off week, and we had accounts payable, which the Board of Selectmen did sign. That was in the amount of $48,828.97. I'll be presenting, even though you've already signed it, I will be presenting that to you for approval as well. So you have a formal motion. But what you have in your hand is the payroll that was issued this week, or that will be issued tomorrow.
So I will make a motion for manifest P 2018 number 7 in the amount of $71,290.08.
Second for any discussion? Any discussion?
I have none.
Seeing none, call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. We got approval of purchase orders. This is where it gets fun.
So we have several, since this is your first organizational meeting. since the election. We have several that are just moving from the different funds that the town has, fund to fund. The first one that I'd like to bring up, though, is the KSD Custom Wood Products, which is for the restoration of the windows in this room in Sandy's office. We have the PO again before the board. I did speak with Steve Bailey. He indicated that a subcommittee of the facilities committee had gotten together a handful of years ago, well, probably not even that long, 2 or 3 years ago at this point, and discussed this type of work. They had recommended the historic restoration to maintain the historic nature of this area, which is why this company is the only company that is locally able to do this. There are some in Maine that do historical restorations, but in New Hampshire, this is the only company that will do it.
So there wasn't, that's the only company.
Right, it is the only company. Sandy and I had found in the file where there was, we thought maybe it was another quote, but it was actually for Mark Lambert to do the storm windows, which have already been installed and paid for. So there was only the one quote, and this quote was what was used to apply for the grant. And so the grant was awarded based on this quote.
Okay.
So if you have any other questions?
My question is, I did read your email, Scott. Are you all set now? I read most of your emails to see. I know you had some questions on it, so before we move any further.
My concern, which I think I'm okay with now, was we're paying, I mean, if you look at the $10,000 grant, you know, basically, you know, it's under, but just shy of $15,000. $10,000 is from a grant. I'm sorry. I don't know why this is doing this.
So basically, we're paying $5,000 to get the windows replaced.
Yeah.
Well, not replaced, but refinished.
So anyways, one of my concerns was, which I was happy with the answer, but how is that going to affect the heat? You know, is that going to improve the energy efficiency of the building?
Right.
And so forth.
He was hesitant to quantify an amount, not knowing, you know, how much we pay right now, and if this is left open, and what exactly the situation was. But he believed that with the reglazing of the window panes, which include a putty that is put in between the panes and the wood, which will weatherize and seal the windows, and then the panes themselves will have a glaze on them. He said combine the work that he's doing with the storm windows that the town already has, that is comparable to replacing the window with insulated glass.
Okay.
I don't have any further questions.
Go for it. Make the motion.
Make a motion to approve the payment voucher for KSD Custom Wood Products in the amount of $14,479.
I'll second for discussion. Can you just state where the other $4,479 is coming from? Is that coming from the facilities committee, facility fund, or is that coming out of the general budget?
The discussions that were had last year that I read in the minutes was that it was coming out of the facilities fund.
That's it? That's all I needed to know?
The whole 14.
Yeah, I went back and it did appear to be the whole amount.
And then they reimburse, we get the 10 and put it back in?
Yes, correct. And we've already received $5,000 of the grant already. So once the work is complete, I'll file the necessary paperwork and the state will reimburse us the other
Any more
$5,000.
discussion? No. Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
So I'm going to give you this one. This one is to move trust funds that were passed with the warrant articles.
Okay, this is for the trustee of trust funds. So this is basically all the approved warrant articles to move money to trust funds per the warrants. So So warrant, I'm assuming these are the warrant articles on the side. Number 16 was to move aquatic species prevention, $7,000. Then warrant article 17 was the aquatic species treatment for $12,000. Warrant article number 5 was the employee vested trust funds for $10,000. Warrant article number 11 was the facilities expendable trust fund for $13,500. And then warrant article number 12 is the 250th anniversary expendable trust fund for $2,000 for a total of $44,500.
Second. Any discussion?
I don't have any. I mean, they're all articles that were approved.
Call for the
at.
vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
And then this is for the 2 payments to the Northwood Lake Water Association for the aquatic species control maintenance trust fund. Now,
hold
I
on,
do
I'm
have
gonna
a
stop you for a
question.
second,
I do have a question on this.
Usually they come with 2 separate
Yeah, they
POs.
come in with 2 separate POs for this.
Generally.
They sent a request for disbursement, which is attached to the PO for the full amount. Sandy has written up the PO as she has right here to issue the 2 payments. So it will be paid in 2 installments. She's asking you to authorize the full amount in 2 installments.
So what would be the dates of these installments?
Usually one's
You can
July
determine
something.
any date that you want.
Well, I would prefer, for discussion purposes, historically,
they've come with one
they've
with a
come
date
in for one and then come in with a second.
when they're ready for the second one.
So,
That's the way it's always been. Since the
I'm
last 2 years I've been
I'm
here.
gonna suggest, Mr. Chairman, that we amend the first payment, so this is just a $6,000 purchase order.
Okay. I agree with you because that's the way we've done it the 2 years I've been here.
So we're just gonna approve the first payment today, so I'm
That's
gonna
fine.
cross this out, if that's okay with the board.
That is perfectly fine
It's fine
with
with
me.
me. The way we've done it the last 2 years. Not that we're not going to give them the money.
No, but, okay.
So you want to amend your motion?
I'm gonna amend the motion for, the first payment of $6,000.
Second the amendment. For any more discussion? Seeing none? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0.
Oh, give me that back a sec, please. You probably should initial that when you change this. We'll just put initials. Okay, this is to the Northwood Trustees Trust Fund. This is warrant article number 8 to move $14,700 from the Special Revenue Fund to the Lagoon Expendable Trust Fund as passed per the warrant article. In the amount of $14,700.
Second. Any discussion?
I don't have any.
Seeing none? Call for the vote. All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
3-0. Motion passes.
Okay, this is to trustee of trust funds, basically moving funds, so to move money per the trust funds per warrants. Number 4 is the cable expendable trust fund in the amount of $36,708. Then the next one is the transfer station expendable trust fund in the amount of $17,846. And the third one would be the cemetery expendable trust fund in the amount of $1,100. For a total of $55,654.
Second for any discussion?
And
Any
it just
discussion?
says it's coming from the unexpendable fund balances.
Any discussion?
No.
Seeing none? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0.
So this,
Hold on 1 sec. Yes?
yeah,
I believe you said the lagoon came from the trust funds.
well, it says, I'm saying what it says on the document.
No, it was the
It
one
says,
before.
it says on this one, on the bottom, whoever prepared it. Can I see that one back?
This one?
The lagoon one.
There's a lagoon expendable.
No,
trust
I'd
fund.
said the one for the cable and all that.
Yeah, but I thought you had said it the same thing for the lagoon one. And it doesn't
It's
matter.
just coming out of special revenue fund and going in,
Special
yeah.
revenue, Not from
yeah.
the trust, but not from the trust funds.
Well, no, they're moving 14.7 from the special revenue fund
Right,
to the lagoon expendable trust fund.
right.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Any more?
Yeah,
Sure, tons more, I'm sure.
So these are, yeah, okay, this is warrant article 7, highway capital reserve. So this is to move money to the capital reserve funds per the warrant articles. So number 7 is highway capital reserve for 18,500. Article number 10 is the red listed bridge capital reserve for 84,000. And number 18 is for the safety complex capital reserve of $15,000. The total of the purchase order is $117,500.
Second, for any discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote.
Aye.
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 I didn't think you had any, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Okay, and this is a vendor, is First Bank is. This is warrant article number 3. This is the 4th payment on the mini pumper for the fire department.
Is this the final payment?
It's the 4th, this 5.
5.
So there's one more payment after this. $56,912 is the total.
Second? Any discussion? Call for the vote, all in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, and this is the 5th payment on the defibrillator payment. Warrant article number 6, in the amount of $13,384.
Second, any discussion?
Is that the last payment?
That is.
Yeah, this is the last one, yeah. Any more? Call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm not sure why Sandy had given me this one in the pile, so for $23.
It's because, is this, oh, this is for Target?
Yeah, it's a reimbursement.
Yeah, you know why? Because you need to, okay. You have to, because it's, is this for,
For Gary.
yeah, it's coming out of the trust fund, so you
Oh,
need,
okay,
you need a little more information on this?
Sandy had provided to me.
Because it should
that
come out
way.
of the cable
Should
expendable
say
trust
something
fund.
about that underneath it
Yeah,
usually.
it should have that in expense account, so
Right.
I can't approve that till I have
That's
that
fine.
information. Well,
No, we can wait until
is
that.
that, I
No,
need it
it's fine, I
filled
mean,
out.
you need that
I
information.
need that, and I need the information that's coming out of the cable expendable trust
Right.
fund.
But I don't, other than that, I don't see any other
Yeah.
reason why not, but
Okay.
just clean that up a little bit.
Okay, this is a purchase order, DL Daco, plowing and sanding in the amount of $6,930.
Second for discussion, does this bring us up to today?
Yes, this is through, I believe the majority of that was for the snowstorm on Election Day.
No, that's fine, I just want to make sure we're not, this is like, brings us up to date
Right.
as of like today.
Yes.
Okay.
And, I mean, there was talk about potentially getting money reimbursed,
Oh,
but.
no more snow.
Yeah. From the state, if they declared the most recent storm on Election Day an emergency, whether that will happen or not, I'm not sure at this point.
No, I'm all right with that. Any more discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I prepared a PO for CNH Capital. The PO itself might be a little premature at this point since you've not had a chance yet to look at the paperwork for the backhoe.
Yeah, I think.
My question with the backhoe is I'm not saying we don't get it, but generally we require 3 quotes when we're purchasing something of that bigness.
Right.
And obviously we're gonna buy it, it was voted on by the people, but
And
I only
again,
saw
I'm-
one, right? Is that
I'm
always that?
coming into this a little, the quotes that I found in the files were actually from 2016. Borgard had updated their quote in 2017, and that's the number that was used for the warrant article.
Right. When it was updated, was it increased or lowered? Or?
It was increased slightly. They did not lower
No.
the amount that they were going to be giving for the trade-in.
Oh, right, that was where I was headed. Did they change the amount for trade? I
No,
was
they
headed there. That was
kept
my
the
next
amount the
question.
same for the trade-in, and their price went up. Let's see if I have that here. Their purchase price for the backhoe was $105,900. It went up $5,000.
Okay.
That's also a difference between a 2016
Yeah,
case and
absolutely.
a 2018
Absolutely.
case.
I'm fully on board with buying one. I know we usually require 3 quotes. I don't know if that's something we can get. Sometimes you can't get 3. It happens.
And looking back at the quotes from 2016, it looks like only 2 quotes
And then,
came in.
What was the other quote?
The other quote, oh, that's for the repair. Well, no, maybe only 1 quote was received then. May have only been, there's a quote for a
I'm gonna
repair and a
suggest-
quote for the purchase
So we don't
outright.
rush this and maybe do a little due diligence.
put a bid in. Put a bid
No,
up, or-
I'd like to see if we can go back and do a little research on this because we really, for something that expensive, we should have more than 1 quote.
Right, and that's fine, and when I was putting this together, I didn't realize that that had not already been done. I thought we had 3 quotes prior to.
I'm not saying,
putting-
I'm pretty
No.
sure it was done.
Yeah, it looks like in 2016.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for,
So-
I just,
Right.
well, at least let's do a little more.
Yep, we can certainly do that.
Well, that's my opinion.
I think we need to at least try to get more quotes. Who's to say we might not get more than the 1, but
Right.
to just go by the 1, I think we should at least try. Like, I don't want to drag it out the whole year, but we could at least try, and maybe by the next meeting or the following meeting after that, we
I
can
can
get a
have quotes
couple
for the
more.
next meeting.
Yeah.
And then I did receive 2 quotes for interest rates. One's the CNH Capital, who's offering 3.25%.
No, that's right through the actual dealership. Right?
Correct. And one from US Bank Corp., which is 3.46%.
Now, you
US
mentioned-
Bank's a little cheaper, right?
Nope, actually, US Bank is more expensive.
Oh,
At
sorry.
at the end of the day, with US Bank, based on the purchase price that Borgard has offered us, you would pay $6,598 in interest with US Bank. Borgard, through CNH, 4 annual payments with interest amounting to $436. So it'd be approximately
I recall-
$1,200 for interest.
I recall, is this gonna, it was on the warrant article, does this have a escape clause?
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's just,
Yep.
that was going to lead to my next question. I know you mentioned something about, Charlie mentioned something earlier about possibly getting the extended warranty. Mm-hmm.
That was,
Generally, I would be 100% on board with that, but let's just say next year this doesn't pass.
right.
We just paid for a warranty and we're going to have to return the vehicle.
Well, I'm making an assumption here, but
Saying it's
the
possible.
Well,
It is
since
possible.
I've been here, I have never seen us make a purchase like this and the town hasn't voted to.
It is possible, though. It
It
is a
yeah,
possibility.
it's possible.
Most warranties, you are able to get a refund of what's prorated.
You're right. It probably will pass every year, but it is possible that it
Yeah,
won't.
it's possible.
But there is that option. But I can certainly
How
get
much is extended warranty?
$2,000.
And
we want it
where
repoed.
would that funds come out of that?
We don't want it repoed.
Well, that's something that the board would have to
We'd
decide.
It would have to come out of
we'd
the
have to
highway
decide to
budget.
give it back.
It would
or
have to
decide
come out
take
of the
it
highway
back.
budget.
Do you want to just check with, I have one question and it's not I'm not worried about, well, I'm always worried about money, but Could you check with the attorney, because the warrant article was only approved to a certain amount?
Yes,
And,
We might have to have that within
would
that
it be-
amount.
No, well, I'm gonna ask, could we're just buying the track, the extended warranty could be kinda considered separate. but
Right.
The same, if we could take that, see if we could look at taking that out of the operate. Or, cause if we can't spend that legally, we can't get the extended warranty.
that is a good question, because
So in
the
other
town
words,
is
can we-
only
can we-
authorized
Do we have
to
the
extend-
authority
To take
to
that money
money
for
from
something
that
else?
account.
take something out when the voters only approved it?
Well, we already know the answer to that, because we tried it with the fire truck when they got the Jaws of Life. We had to stop at a certain amount.
We
and then
couldn't
they had-
exceed that.
And then they had to go get the donation for the rest of it.
Well,
So we kind of already know the
This is a
answer,
little bit,
right? Am I correct with that, Nick? Is that how that went
this is
down?
a little bit different because we're not.
It's a warranty, but-
Well, let's just ask the legal.
No, it's fine. It's-
Because if they say no, we can't. But it makes, I think this makes fiscal sense.
I'm not saying it doesn't make physical sense. I'm just saying, I don't see why we couldn't take it out of the operating
Let's do a
budget.
little more research on that. We don't have to do that this week.
Do that for you.
All right. What else you got?
Okay, so that's it for POs, and we're on to miscellaneous signatures and approvals.
Going first.
Okay. This is the MS 232. It's a report of appropriations actually voted. So I make a motion that we sign this.
Second.
The total voted appropriations was $4,981,000. Yeah, I'm sorry, $4,981,574.
Second. Any discussion?
No?
See none? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 We have several board and committee appointments. I don't know if you prefer the list or one by one to sign.
Have all of these put in their letter of commitment?
Yes, Dolores has heard from all of them that are on the list.
Okay. You want to just go right down the list?
Sure.
We gotta set a term for a bunch of them, it looks like.
I looked back, and if you have all these expiring in 3 years, all the boards and committees will be staggered appropriately.
Okay.
They will be?
Yes, they will.
Well, that then, that works.
So, okay, so these are all reappointments according to this sheet. So I'll just read off the names. Robert Bailey for Highway Advisory. And all these terms are going to end March 31st of 2021. David Balane, am I spelling Balin, Emergency. Greg Bain, Highway Advisory. Nicholas Bassett, Emergency. Bunny Bem, Ballot Clerk. Ken Curley, Cable Advisory. Brenda D'Amato, ZBA Alternate. Glenn Droulet, Emergency. Cindy Garrett, Ballot Clerk. Cindy Garrett, Emergency. Steve Hamp, Conservation. Robert Knowlton, Highway Advisory. Justin Miller, Zoning. Cindy Priolo, Ballot Clerk. Ken Rick, Ballot Clerk. Robert Robinson, Ballot Clerk. Susan Robinson, Ballot Clerk. Dave Ruth, Recreation. Marsha Severance, Ballot Clerk. Betty Smith, Ballot Clerk. Linda Smith, Ballot Clerk. Robert Strobel, Highway Advisory, alternate. Dale Sylvia, Emergency Management. Linda White, Ballot Clerk. I will move, isn't over. Robert Young, Emergency, and Winnie Young, Conservation. I will move this list for approval.
Second. Any discussion?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
So these are actually all the forms that need to be signed.
Can I come
You
in
know
and
what?
sign those tomorrow?
Well, yeah, I'll sign them after the meeting.
Yeah, or I'll
Or after
come.
the
That's
meeting. We
fine.
don't
I'll
need-
swing by tomorrow and sign them all.
That
But
would be fine.
we
with me.
basically approved all of them.
I'll
Right.
swing by tomorrow and sign them all. What's next? What do we got?
The next is actually the board's appointments
List of the actual committees.
for this,
Let's start with, I was gonna say, let's start with the statutory committees.
Which ones are those?
That would be budget committee, planning board. I'm trying to think if there's any other statutory.
Zoning.
actually here, why don't I give you this one?
So, budget committee, planning, those two are actually, we're required to have one selectman. Right.
Actually required.
So,
Do you want budget committee again?
well, I was gonna say,
What do they meet on Saturdays?
they meet during the week and on Saturdays, yeah.
I'm not against taking budget committee, but I can't do meetings on Saturdays unless they're afternoon,
Well,
because I work on Saturdays. So if you want it, you can keep it. I'm not gonna fight you over it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to do you have an interest in that?
I mean, I can do Saturdays, it doesn't make any difference.
Did you have an interest in the committee?
And we got a few to go through.
I'm
too.
willing to do budget committee.
Okay.
And then, next one's planning board. I just tell you, planning board usually goes to the new select person.
Maybe,
So that's,
might be the
That-
chair,
what?
might be the chair.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
So,
What night is it?
it's, Thursday.
Thursday nights.
Is Thursday.
Got silent quick.
I took budget committee, that's a
I-
pretty big commitment.
What? I heard my name. I can't do Thursdays. Thursdays don't work for me.
I
Got
get my
meetings
nails
until
on
10, 11
Thursday.
o'clock at night. I get up at 2 in the morning. It's just not gonna work for me.
How late do the meetings actually go to?
10, 11.
I
Rick,
will-
how late were the
will-
meetings going to?
I will-
10,
I will-
11?
I will tell you.
9, 10.
To make it fair, there's numerous times that other selectmen may have to fill in on these because there's like, for example, I have, I have a commitment, well, actually, my job requires me to serve on a couple national boards. And, I'm on this, I have to go travel to Arizona like every 3 months to sit on this. So sometimes I miss a meeting and one of us would have to sit in because there's a statutory requirement that one selectman be on that. So,
I can't stay after 9 o'clock.
That's
I mean, I get up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work too, so. Excuse me?
We'll just have to tell them their meetings can't go past 9.
okay. I mean, you know, if there's a reason you can't make a meeting, I can help, I can fill in for you.
So those are the only two we gotta take care of? Highway advisory, we don't have to have somebody there?
What?
So those are the only two we have to have.
Those are the only two we have to have a rep.
What ones are Rick doing?
Well, let me rephrase that. Those are the only two that in statute, we have, there's a requirement by statute that a member of the board be on the committee. Okay? Historically, all these other committees has had a representative from the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I'm
There's
not
just
saying
no
that.
statutory requirement.
Right, some, however, when the town acted in forming the committees in the warrant article, may have stated whether a selectman representative was part of that committee. At this point, I don't know which boards and committees may have had some sort of action like that. I can look into it if you'd like.
No, I can tell you, I've been on the board since 1999. We've always had one of the selectmen who's
Right.
tried to go to every one of these meetings.
Yep. It is helpful in keeping communications.
So, well,
I don't mind doing the highway, because Rick obviously had highway, so I can do that. What day do they meet? Their meetings are not usually very crazy long. Rick, what night do the highway advisory normally meet?
Monday, right?
Whatever, I can check the town calendar, I'm not worried about that one. And then what are we gonna do with the recycling committee?
Is it still?
I was told tonight that it's dead, so either we can put it back out for new volunteers,
I
or we
think
can get rid of it.
I think we should put it out for new volunteers,
Okay.
and then when
Because
we
I did,
decide at that point.
I did have that one, I was doing them both, the rec and the recycling. And when I first started, they were at 2 different times. The rec was at 6 and recycling was at 7.
Yeah.
And then they changed it. Recycling went to both having them at 6. So we'll have to get them back on the 7 o'clock schedule.
All right, Economic Development Committee.
So that gives me 3, right? Recycling, rec, and highway.
I didn't know they were all different to you right now.
Well, I'm not giving up the ones I'm already on.
So if you do the rec, you're actually going to participate in the rec?
I've been going right up into one recycling committee stopped doing, who built the ice rink? Not the rec department, I did.
That's great, but you only went
That's
to 3
great.
rec meetings all
Who
year.
who did it? And who complained about it? Not me, the rec committee.
All right, let's. Okay.
Yeah, you did complain about it, I have it.
Okay.
Right on my phone.
All right, let's.
Oh, I have them too, how mean and nasty you are.
Let's keep this civil. All right, economic development, that's usually, the first Wednesday.
I can take on something else until recycling committee comes on, but once they come on, I'll have to give some up. I'm not gonna do them all.
Yeah. You know what, I'll take, Beth, I'm assuming do you have an interest in economic development?
I would take the recreation one.
Of course.
All right. I'll take economic development. Okay. Highway advisory,
I'll take that
you'll
one. I'll
take
do
that?
I'll do that one.
Okay, now I guess we're up to rec commission.
I don't see why I should have to get off of it.
Okay.
It's not about getting off though, it's about divvying up the jobs.
I've done just
And
as
you're,
much as
oh,
you
you're so
have.
busy.
I'm not gonna argue with you. I've done just as much as you have. When I couldn't go because I had a meeting at the same time, you're right. But when I first started, there was a whole different rec committee. Then we went without a rec director for a little while. There was no rec committee. Then there's a rec committee that started, and yeah, I went at first because I remember there was a whole different committee. It was none of the ones that were on there now. And then Sharon took over. We got a new one. And then they went from recycling committee, changed their time from 7 to 6, where I couldn't make them both. It wasn't that I didn't want to, I couldn't. Then when the rec committee when the recycling committee stopped doing their meetings, I did go to every rec committee meeting. Been to every one since. Even the ones that were illegally posted, I went to. Not
You went to 2
posted.
legal ones and 1 illegal one.
The one illegal one was enough. It should have never happened.
Mr. Chairman, can I suggest to keep this professional? I'm not, he's the chair, we're not,
What does the recycling committee involve?
just helping us with making decisions, doing some basically labor work for us that we can't do when we're working, looking into things, phone calls to possible vendors that we may change things to.
I've done recycling for 45 years, so that.
Well, if you wanna join, I'd suggest talk to Kate.
Okay.
Can you call me tomorrow and I'll
Yeah,
get you an
I'll come and
application?
see you.
Okay, perfect.
What time's good?
I'm in the office from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Thank you for wanting to join.
Thank you.
So I guess the decision on the recycling committee basically comes down to you. But I don't really see a reason why I should have to get off.
You can make all the meetings.
I can make all the meetings, absolutely. I have to, I'll choose that meeting over the recycling committee meeting if it makes them feel better. If the recycling decides to go to 6, because I know enough about recycling that I really don't need to go to the meetings.
Well, it's not, we don't go to the meetings because we know enough, we go to the meetings.
I'll go to
represent
both
the
if they
board.
have them at different times. I was going to go to both when they have different times. Originally, when I started them both, they were one was at 6 and one was at 7. That's why I took them on, because I could do them both on the same night. That was originally how it was set up. And then they changed their hours, so they both had them at 6. One would be downstairs, one would be upstairs. That's how that went down. That's why I had to choose which one to go to.
I'll tell you the truth, I'd like to,
Betty? Do you want, it's brand new.
Still got zoning board too.
there's no requirement to have a rep to this. We actually shouldn't have some, that's adjudication board.
What?
The zoning board.
Zoning
We
board,
don't need one for the zoning board.
because
then.
that's,
That's fine. That's why it's not on there. I just thought that was part of one of the ones we needed, but if we don't need it, we don't need it.
so we can't come to an agreement here, I gotta be the tiebreaker.
Well, I'll do the planning board.
But when it comes to recycling committee, no, we can't come to an agreement, basically.
You mean recreation?
Whatever, recreation, you know what I was talking about. You can come up with a reason why I should have to, Scott. I mean, I've been to meetings when I could go.
Right, but not
I've
just
done
about the
just
meetings,
enough.
it's
I've
about
done-
doing the events.
And you're not required to go to an event. There's
Sir,
nothing
this is-
requirement
this
that
is,
doesn't make you go to an
It's a
event.
public meeting, but we're
requirement.
not taking comments right now. We're having a sorry, I don't mean any disrespect, I'm just.
And just
I'm
because,
willing
just
to go
because
to the
I'm,
events
just because,
and help plan.
yeah, but just because I don't, that doesn't stop you from going to events because I'm on the board. You can still go to the events and plan and be a volunteer. It doesn't stop that. It doesn't do
But if you
anything.
want
It
to be
just
on the
means you
committee,
can't
why
go to a
don't you
meeting.
want to volunteer and be part of the events as well? I don't
There's
understand
there's
that.
nothing saying I have to go to an event.
But if you want to be on the committee, why don't you want to be
Because you
part of
don't
the
have,
events?
I didn't say I wouldn't go to an event.
You run your meeting, okay, we're not taking, I'm assuming we're not taking
We'll
public
take
comment.
some, unless it's pertaining to the citizens forum. I mean,
Yeah,
I want to move on from this, so make a
Okay.
decision and let's move on. There's no sense of beating this to death. It's obvious that you're going to be the final vote, so just figure it out and make it happen. Plain and simple. It's that easy.
I was actually thinking of me doing it to keep the peace. So,
No thanks. If I'm not going to take hers, I'm not going to take yours.
I'll do this, let's try it out to see how things go.
Did you do rec before?
I did do rec before.
So you're saying that you want to take rec?
I'm not saying I want to take it, I say I take it to make, have this end civilly.
Yeah, but it still doesn't defeat the purpose of the reason why she doesn't want me to take it, because you're not gonna go to any more events than I'm gonna go to.
Well, actually, I do go to quite a few.
I go to most of them. But that's fine, if you want it, I'll let you have it. That's fine.
No, all right. I was gonna say, we can try it out for a month and see how things work.
Then what? I'm gonna be back in the same spot again. That's fine, if you want it, take it. But a month ain't gonna
No,
change
you-
the spot we're in.
Well, I just said I want it. How come you didn't say if you want it, take it?
If you want it, you want it?
I didn't
I do want it.
want to get off of it.
Okay.
So what are you saying? Yeah, I want it then.
I'm fine with you doing it, DJ.
All right, thanks. That's all I needed. Now can we move on?
Well, we got, what,
So you're gonna move the bunny tonight?
That's not a selectman's job. That's the rec committee's job.
Right, but you want to be part of it.
It's not the selectman's job to move the bunny from pace to pace. You need to read up on what the selectman as the liaison's job is for a committee. It's not our job to move the bunny place to place. It's our job to look over the meeting. That's it.
all due respect, Mr. Chairman, let's run the meeting.
Just saying, it's not my job to
let's
move
run
the
the
bunny.
meeting.
You don't need a vote. We can if you want.
All
We
right.
can take a vote on any of the other ones.
Suggestion that might help, as board administrator and not as a citizen, as your employee.
Quick, go ahead, quick.
The board of selectmen are liaisons to these committees. You are not voting members of these committees.
Exactly.
Only the two that Scott identified. You could have two people go to every recreation meeting as liaisons, or you could switch month to month, or if you have an interest beyond one, then more than one could go to the meetings.
Yeah, but they have to attend as a public. They can't. You can't as two selectmen. They'd have to attend as a public. They couldn't. They can't
Well, all
participate
the
in the
meeting,
meeting.
Mr. Chairman, all the technically,
All the
all meetings should be posted. All right? So, my understanding is in the
You can
past,
go.
you have
You're
one,
not members of those committees. You're only liaisons to bring information back
Exactly.
to the board.
Well, not necessarily. It depends the language of the warrant articles. In some
the one,
committees,
there's no, on the rec commission, there's nothing in there that says there even has to be a selectman
I
on the
would,
committee.
I would digress because I did look into this
Oh, you
prior to this meeting. And when it was established with a selectman's representative on the committee.
Yeah, but if you have
So
two
it is-
show, one's got to be in the audience
If-
and can't
So it's
participate.
is it
Two
an ex
select-
officio or is it a voting member?
It is an ex officio. However, if two selectmen do attend in a capacity where they're going to be deliberating town business, which is likely at a rec committee meeting, it will also need to be posted as a meeting of the selectmen with separate minutes taken. So if
So if you have,
you alternate, as Linda suggested, one take 1 month, one take another month, it doesn't have to be designated.
So I guess we need to make a formal vote, apparently.
yeah, I'll nominate DJ.
Well, I can't second myself. It's just gonna go back and forth because we're not gonna get a second.
Yeah, theoretically you can second
I'll
yourself.
second my
It's just-
nomination.
Usually you don't, usually it doesn't get to this, but yeah, okay.
I'll second myself because if I don't, it's just gonna go back to the same thing again. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2-1, I'm guessing.
Well, ask if there's any,
Any
noes.
abstains or any noes?
No.
So,
2-1.
2-1.
We're gonna take a motion on the rest of them.
I mean, I don't think the rest of them are in question, but if you want to, I guess we can.
Well,
If you
if
wanna
we're
do it.
doing it for one, we might as well do it for all for the
All right,
record.
I'll make a motion. I'll nominate Scott Breyer for Budget Committee and Economic Development. Is that the last two you had? Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Anybody want to second that?
Second.
Any further discussion? Call for a vote, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain.
Motion passes 2 to 1 abstained. And then I'll make a nomination to nominate Beth Boudreau to planning board. Is that all that is there?
That is a big commitment.
And that's it, planning board. Yes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Call for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. She's gonna abstain. So motion passes 2 to 1 abstained. And I'll make a motion for me, I've already did the rec, but I'll make a motion to, I can't.
The
So
rec's
you need
done.
to do, you need to do recycling, you need to nominate me for recycling highway then.
Well,
The
can
highway
I
advisory
ask, can I ask a question about the recycling? My understanding is it's defunct. Don't we actually have to recreate the commission before we appoint a selectman to it?
Technically, they haven't resigned yet. We haven't gotten any paperwork saying they resigned, so technically we have a rec committee, we have a recycling committee.
I will nominate, you know what? I'm gonna, I want to do recycling.
You sure you're gonna be able to make the 2 o'clock meetings in Madbury? Once a month?
Well, I guess I won't be doing that.
Thank you. That's what I thought, that's why I figured I'd take it, because I've been going to them right along.
Well, for those meetings, you can designate me as
Could,
a
yes.
representative for the selectmen to go to the Lamprey
Yeah,
Regional
we
Solid
can do
Waste
that.
Co-op.
You know, I,
If you want to recycle committee, you can
no,
have 'em.
I'd
take
really, if you've got a passion for that,
it. No, I mean, I've been doing it right along. I've actually, the last meeting we had, she's gonna touch on, we've actually got a lot of information from
we're not really taking public, I mean,
I just want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, we will. We're
We're
gonna
gonna
have
have
citizens
public
comment,
comment.
and you'll have all the time, 3 minutes to talk.
All right, thank you.
right. I'm fine, you
All
want
right,
to.
well, go ahead and nominate me. Let's
I
get move on.
nominate Donald Hodgson for recycling commission.
Make sure highway too. Highway advisory committee.
Yeah, I'll nominate you for highway advisory commission too.
I'll accept.
You need second?
Second, whatever. Any comment? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. Motion passes 2 to 1 abstain.
All right, did we get all of them?
There's a few, the facilities committee, we didn't really
All right.
put anybody to, but
I'll take facilities. If,
I'm all right with it.
did you want facilities, Beth?
What day does it meet?
That's a Wednesday too,
During the
right?
day, or is it
They all meet at
the-
night.
at night?
Would you like that one? Just town facilities.
That's fine. I'll take that.
Okay, I'll nominate Beth Boudreau for town facilities
Second.
committee.
Any discussion?
Which Wednesday was that? The first, third? What?
Linda, what's
You have to check the calendar. They change them. They autofill the calendar.
Okay. Yeah,
First Wednesday,
Okay.
7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Community Hall.
all right?
Thank you.
So we'll call for a vote. All
Aye.
in favor? Aye. 2 to 1 abstained.
Okay, I think that's all of them.
That's it.
Are these your cheat notes?
You want your other ones?
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, what do we have now?
So we have
Lifeguard application.
2 lifeguards that have applied. One is going to apply. We have not received it yet.
Okay. So wait, we got, again, on a technicality, has she applied yet?
The 2 that we're recommending you make motions for have applied. Sharon is recommending that they be hired, and she names another individual that has not applied yet, but they do anticipate that. So
I don't want to, well, for discussion, so let me get this straight. Ben Brieger and Eli,
yeah, I can't say his last name.
all right.
Heinrichsen?
Now I gotta tell you, I gotta
Henriksen?
tell, I got a little, not disagreement, but I am gonna make the motion that this is their first year lifeguarding.
These 2 are actually both returning from last year.
No, they're not.
No, That is what Sharon relayed to me.
Well,
Okay.
there was a little bit of a, Department of Labor came in and basically told us these
They
two
worked
people-
about a
so
week.
They worked about a week. Given the fact that, so I'm gonna make a motion that they receive $9.51
Okay.
since they're in actuality.
Is that both of them that did that
Yeah.
last year?
I don't know, is it the two of them? But they're basically new lifeguards.
Yeah, she had told me that they were returning, so I'm not 100% sure about
Well, they
that.
technically, I guess, are, but we didn't hire them legally the first time. How's that?
Well, can I clarify
They were
that?
underage.
They're underage.
Can I clarify this a little bit for the record? If we had a swimming pool,
They'd be illegal.
as opposed to open water, you can be a lifeguard at 15. But we're all lakes and ponds, so you have to be 16.
Last year they were 15.
So what happened is we actually hired them, and the Department of Labor actually came down and gave us a small fine, told us that they can't come back till next year. It's my opinion that in actuality they are new lifeguards, so I'd like to start them out at the 951.
Okay.
Sorry, I just need to make the final motion.
And that's my motion.
Second. You gotta say their names though.
I did Ben Brieger and Elijah
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson.
That's what it is. It's Hendrickson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Second. Any discussion? Further discussion? Does this bring us full staff now for lifeguards?
It will once the other individual applies.
Pending background check, obviously.
Right.
Okay. Call for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0.
No. And we'll approve when that one actually submits the application.
Right.
We'll approve that. Oh. Okay. I have a request. It's a Northwood Lake Beach Area Usage Request Form. It's actually for the town of Epsom. And I believe it's their, so they can teach their swim lessons. So they like to use the Northwood Lake Beach area. Starting on July 16th of 18 it's basically a week of swim lessons from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And then we will be charging them $50 a day.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second. Is that based on water quality? Obviously.
Yes. Correct.
So yeah, I would say if they can't use it,
Yeah.
Right.
If it's closed because
And-
or something.
for more discussion, I'm willing to work. For example, if there was a water quality issue and they wanted to switch out a day.
Yeah, I'm okay with
Okay.
that too.
I'm okay with
Yeah, I'm
that.
okay with that
I'll
too.
relay that to Sharon.
All right. Any more discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0.
This is a request we had received from the town of Pittsfield.
Okay. I'll read the letter into the record. Dear Northwood Board members, the Pittsfield Board of Selectmen received a letter from a Hills Road resident, Mrs. Trombley, regarding her concerns on the posted notifications of the road status. Upon review of the concerns by our Superintendent of Public Works and Board, it appears more of the issue is posed on the Northwood end of the road, like the letter states, as this is where Mrs. Trombley believes the traffic would be entering the road. The majority of the Pittsfield portion of this road is maintained just past her driveway, actually. Mrs. Tremblay letter notes that she sent a letter to you as well, so I'm simply making sure that you received the letter for consideration for modifying the road's posting on your end.
Whether she wants us to post it as like no passing or class, or different class or what?
Yeah, she, in her letter, the resident is requesting that the road be posted that it is a class 6 and
Can we just
not
get Charlie?
passable. Charlie is willing to put signs up.
Sign up?
And he has the sign language.
It is a class 6.
Correct.
So, yeah.
He's just looking for direction as far as location to post. And you can leave it
So
to his discretion.
I'll make a motion to leave it up to the discretion of the
the
road agent to determine the best suitable position for the sign.
and do we need a stop, like, do
That was
we
a
need-
motion.
Second, for discussion, do we need a stop, so like, in other words, after her driveway, it turns to Pittsfield town? Do we need this stops class portion, da-da-da-da-da?
Well, and I think that's why he was Charlie was a little iffy about location. You know, if we put it a certain point, there's no way for them to turn around. So
Put it in the front?
it makes more sense
Gotta put it at the beginning of the road.
to put it.
It's part of, again, excuse my ignorance, part of that road classified.
Part of it is, I believe.
After
So you
our
can't-
town line?
Right.
You can't post the class 6 part until you get to the class 6
Correct.
part.
Yeah. So again, I mean, I think if he puts it right at the beginning of the class 6, you know,
Does it go
it's the
class
best that
5
you're
to
gonna be
class
able
6,
to
or
do.
does it go class 6
No,
to
it's
class 5?
class 5 to class 6.
So yeah,
That's
put it
what
right
I
at the
was
beginning of the
thinking.
class 6, yeah, all right. All right, so any more discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote, all in favor? Aye. Charlie, get that done, that'd be great.
You had accepted Mr. Yo's resignation last week, and this is just a letter that I've
Oh,
prepared
okay.
for him.
So,
Yeah, no motions needed for that. And so before you should each have a copy of the draft guidelines for building on, or issuing building permits on Class 6 roads.
was Mike concerned, Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
Was my concern addressed about the
The
footprint?
footprint, yes, correct. That language is in the guidelines. It is also in the,
So was that, oh, okay, the guidelines.
if you look at the highlighted area on that, it does indicate in the lawfully permitted structure footprint.
That does not increase the size or dimensions of the structure in any direction.
Okay.
Now, my only question with that is if it doesn't change the footprint, but they change the amount of bedrooms, are we worried about that, or we don't care as long as they stay within the footprint? Because, I mean, technically, you could add more bedrooms and not change the footprint.
Well, my question is I'll just go back when we had this discussion, and Beth, if you want to chime in, because you weren't on the board then, we had this discussion, I think we were pretty clear that if somebody was replacing a house at the same footprint, that was okay.
Right. That's what
But I'm usually saying, like, if you have a camp and it's a two, I don't know.
But like, my question is so, Scott, say you have what you would consider a one-bedroom camp now, but it's 1,200 square feet or whatever, I'm just gonna throw out a number. And 900 square feet of it is living room and 300 square feet's a room. Say you decide you wanna cut that 900-foot living room in half and make 2 bedrooms, are we concerned, even though it's still staying within the same footprint? You're actually adding more rooms to that structure.
I mean, something of that nature would need to go to the planning board, I believe. Is that correct, Linda? No.
No, because you're not changing the usage.
You're just adding another wall.
Just adding another room.
Okay.
So that's my question, because...
Well, you're not increasing the footprint of the building.
Right, I understand, that's my point. You're not increasing the footprint of the building, but I think the reason why we don't want them to be able to increase the footprint of the building is so they can't add rooms. So you can still add
No,
rooms.
I think the reason we didn't want them to increase the footprint of the building is because we didn't want them, most of these are built on maybe not a substandard lot that was grandfathered in. So we're saying, hey, you already got your building.
So you can do whatever you want with it, just don't make
From
it...
within side,
don't make
you
it any
can't make
bigger.
additions?
Don't make it any bigger.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm not saying I disagree with it. I
I
just
mean,
wanted to make sure we were clear on
my
that.
intention was, as long as it stays in the same footprint.
And we didn't include that language in the draft. And
I mean, if somebody, in my opinion, if somebody's having the same footprint and they don't want to cut the, as long as the actual building's not any bigger.
No, I'm all right with it. I mean, I know they have to have a certain amount of space for a room anyway, so it's still a building code thing anyways.
right. And so we've drafted the guidelines, flow chart, and a checklist to go with each applicant.
This says draft.
Yes.
Have an official
I do
copy.
have a copy for signature, should you choose to adopt these guidelines this evening. And we are prepared moving forward. Between Dale, Linda, and myself, we've been communicating back and forth regarding these guidelines, and we are all on the same page.
Linda, do you have anything before we move on? Would you like to come up? Would you like to? Seems...
If you go and look at the 2015, the issue about the bedrooms is actually addressed in that first yellow. What I did was I highlighted the,
That will not
changes.
increase the number of bedrooms or
if you go to,
sleeping
well, if
quarters.
you go to the 2015 approved, it did in fact include, it did have building additions, but it did address increasing the number of bedrooms or sleeping quarters of a residence. The only reason that's important, if it is to this board, is that what you're looking at on these is the road and the access for emergency vehicles to get to the property. So by saying that maybe you had a two-bedroom,
Okay,
1,500 square foot house, and then you switch around a den and you increase bedrooms, you're increasing traffic on that road. That's why that issue could be important.
That's kind of why I brought it up, but I wasn't...
All right, well, I guess we can't,
That's how it
okay,
would come into
so,
it.
so, are you proposing putting language in this as same footprint, same bedrooms? Can't
Well,
increase the bedroom size.
Mr. Hodgson raised that issue, and I'm saying it's important if it's a concern, because it does affect the authority that you have relative to considering these, which is access. And by adding bedrooms, you could be adding people, which then adds traffic over
Yeah,
that road.
I
Or
guess-
people living there increasing.
Maybe my point wasn't too moot. Maybe it actually wasn't
Oh,
moot.
I didn't, did I say it was moot?
Kind of.
Did I use the word moot?
Not really, but...
Well, I just wanted to mention that aspect of it.
So anyways, I am not, okay, can we make that edit and
Yep,
bring it
we
back?
can include that last line.
I want the footprint thing though.
Yep.
Yeah, that's-
The footprint language can stand, and then we can include language
So
such as
we'll have to do this at our next meeting.
will not increase the number of
Well,
bedrooms
not really,
and
because we can
sleeping
make, we
quarters.
can make a motion accepting the
With
draft with
yeah,
that.
but we gotta
with-
sign, we
With
gotta sign
that,
it. So yeah, we can make her, we can authorize her to make the amendment,
and
but we
we
can't sign it until she
we
changes
can't make
it.
an emotion to accept it and then just come in and sign it on a regular day.
I mean, if you'd like, you could make it effective April 1st. That would give you time to come in and sign, and, I mean, we wouldn't be implementing it until it's effective.
We can bring it back to the next meeting.
I mean, just bring it
all right.
back to next meeting.
Bring it back at the next meeting. How many of these are we gonna fight before the next meeting?
There may be a couple that
That's
are,
another concern.
That was my whole point of trying to do it tonight.
Well, that is another concern, I think.
All right, I'll make.
No,
a-
you're all right, you're
No,
all right.
no,
You
no,
wanna
if
wait
you
till
want to
next
do it
meeting?
tonight,
How many do we have?
two.
There are 3 pending cases, and if I could speak to that for just a moment.
Sure.
Kate and I had discussions on that as well, and I would certainly suggest and recommend that for those 3 cases, because they have been through the process, 2 of them have been over 6 months getting that they have come in good faith to both the zoning board, the building department, and received all of their required variances. And at this point, I would like to suggest that you consider those 3 cases that are currently in the pipeline using the existing 2015 approved guidelines when they come before you.
Is that,
They are not here, the applications are not in front of you tonight because we didn't know how you were going to respond to the proposal, but it certainly would be reasonable for them to have those here for the 10th with any updates that they would add to make them looked at and reviewed under the 2015. In fairness to them having been through the process, not being forewarned about any changes to those guidelines. And then once those 3 are out of the way, and then you have your new guidelines, both the building inspector and myself can then say to any new applicant, we have none that are in front of us right now, we can forewarn them and say we now have a new set of guidelines that the Board of Selectmen will be looking at when you get to that point in your process.
so I guess we can wait till the 10th, and then we can see those 3.
I'm fine with that.
And then anybody that comes before you now, before the 10th, just, I guess you could just tell them we're gonna change the rules and be
Okay.
prepared for it. I think it is fair that if they've already gone through the motion, that we should at least consider them at the 2015, if they've already done all the work, and they didn't know any of this, to kind of just hit them with this.
I
new-
think.
That doesn't mean we're gonna approve them, it just means we can look at them.
If you read your emails.
I read most of them.
I
I read
think there's
Kane.
one-
Yeah, I read them. One of them was one of them. The attorney has told us that we should approve it. I did read that one. If that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, so I think.
Exactly. I did read it.
I think, but what I got out of reading what the attorney said was that we can't enforce this until this is put in.
Right. Correct.
right.
So we can, if we put that in tonight, then we can enforce it on those 3. But that don't mean we have to enforce it on those 3 either.
I think they had this stuff's been pending, and
Correct.
so, I mean.
I'm kind of confused with what you're trying to say.
Well, all right, just come out and say it. I think, based on what I read from the legal brief, we kind of obligated to approve those without getting sued.
So then it doesn't matter if we approve that, then we're gonna have.
That's
All
right.
So
Right.
then we can approve
So
that
can-
tonight. Then that's fine.
So, I mean, per my discussions with legal counsel, it is recommended that you approve the new guidelines, and we can include the language that indicates that will also not increase the number of bedrooms and sleeping quarters of a residence. You could make a conditional motion to include that language and have it effective on April 1st. Then any applications received after April 1st will be applied the new guidelines. The 3 in the pipeline
All right.
will be applied the old guidelines, and we will make sure that we have applications that are complete and in detail for the board to take action on separately.
Do we have the specific proposed language that you'd like in the motion?
That area that I've boxed off.
You have to put this one, you have to say this, or, oh, that's what you're gonna add, okay.
Okay. So if we look at the draft for 2018, after the highlighted paragraph, and I'm gonna read this, so the paragraph starts off, if the building permit application, boom, there's a highlighted portion underneath it, accessory residential uninhabited direction, and then after that, we'll just add, direction that will not increase the number of bedrooms or sleeping quarters of the residence, of a residence. So we just add that at the end of that. We either put a comma or,
Right.
and say, that will not increase the number of bedrooms or sleeping quarters of the residents. I'd like to put an effective date of April 1st on that with that amendment. And I'll move that, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this policy with the additional language added to the end of the sentence on the 2018 draft. Just, that will not increase the number of bedrooms or sleeping quarters of a residence. And I will make that motion effective April 1st.
Second, for any further discussion? Seeing none?
Yes, I want to throw this question out there. So, what's to prevent, I'm being hypothetical here, what's to prevent somebody putting a pull-out couch and having somebody else end up moving in the house?
There really isn't. There isn't.
So you just
There's only
increased,
so much
you
you
just
can-
increased
There's only
that.
so much you can do.
There's only so.
Any more discussion?
No, that's it, I just wanted to,
Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
that was painful.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you.
What's next?
And next would be action on the cane.
So we need a motion to accept that one. That's what it sounds like.
We have been advised by town council that it is likely in the town's best interest to not appeal the ZBA decision and to approve this case. And I mean, moving forward, some of the actions throughout that case.
All right, the first thing I'd like to do is, because we discussed this at an earlier board meeting, so this is, I'm trying to think how we made this, currently tax map 122, lot 45, as stated in the deed recorded book 2393 on page 1562 at the Rockingham County Register of Deeds. I do not, that case that went before the ZBA, I do not want to, I'd like to change, reverse the motion to, we recommend that we don't appeal this.
I will second that. We don't recommend that we
Don't appeal it.
Yep. Second. Any discussion?
Yeah, it's just discussion is based on, recommendations from legal counsel.
Any more?
No.
All in favor of not appealing?
Aye. Okay, and then I'll make a motion
Passes
to,
2-0. I didn't hear a third one.
Well, I wasn't part
It
of
was
that.
an abstention.
Motion passes 2-1 abstention.
okay, and now I'd like to make a motion to, approve the agreement and release regarding building permits on class 6 and private roads. And this is for that, tax map 122, lot 45, as stated in the deed recorded in book 2393, page 1562 at the Rockingham County Register of Deeds.
Second. Any discussion?
I don't
All in
have
favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 2-1 abstain.
Folder for it. What you got?
That's all I have for signatures and approvals.
Should I still sign it?
I don't see why you shouldn't, but that's not.
Yeah,
That was
no, you
before
can
I was
sign
here,
that, that's
so-
fine.
All All right, so we have now town administrator report.
I'll be brief. In your packets, Jay Whitelaw from Mitchell Municipal Group is stepping back from her role. She's still going to be part of the Mitchell Municipal Group, but she won't be as active. They are having a reception for her March 29th at their offices from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. They've extended the invitation to the Board of Selectmen.
That's Laconia, right? Or Guilford?
It's the Belknap Mills Function Room, one floor above their offices.
So where's their office
I don't
located? I
know.
think it's
I don't know.
Laconia.
Is it Laconia?
That's on the 29th?
Correct. 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Of April.
It's April, right?
No, March. So I guess it's this week. Thursday.
And what is it?
Won't be able to-
Thursday. This
be able
week.
to
What time
fit
is it,
that
though?
in. 4 to
4 to
7.
7.
It's tight.
All right.
DJ and myself met with the Lamprey Regional Co-op. They have put the truck out to bid. We have posted it on our website, as the other communities have also done. So we'll see what comes of that. What they end up selling it for will determine
How much we have to pay.
what we end up owing.
Did you check into the contract of what obviously we pay them $1,100 a year now. Have we already paid that for this year, and when does that run out?
I looked-
I know during the meeting they didn't really seem all that worried about us having a vendor at this time. It
Right.
didn't seem like it was a huge rush for us to find our own vendor. But I find that if they're selling the truck, that as soon as that truck's sold, as far as I'm concerned, we're no longer a part of the co-op. We need to find our own.
We have paid, I look back in the minutes, and a PO was signed previously for the payment to Lamprey Regional Co-op. I'm not sure if that's in installments. I'm still not sure of what the full amount is. I did pull out the agreement that was signed and updated between the towns. I'm going to review that a little further in depth to find out what our obligation is moving forward.
And I guess to follow up on that is, I guess, direction from the board. Do you guys want to put it out to bid as soon as they sell the truck, or do you want to kind of hang on to? We've been basically guaranteed service for a little while.
What year is that? I mean, I'm just a couple questions. What year is the truck?
It's a 2009 Volvo.
Just to be clear, it's a 5-person co-op.
Yeah.
And all other 4 members are willing to sell. So we have a vote, but it's still going to be 4 to 1. So the truck is getting sold.
Oh, yeah, I have a couple questions.
No,
Is
go
there a
ahead.
minimal bid?
Yeah, no, I don't believe they set a minimum this time.
They did discuss it, and they were going to set it for $30,000. The co-op, when they met, felt that was then limiting themselves for low bids.
What do you mean limited? They thought they would
They
get.
thought that people would just bid the limit.
30.
The 30,000.
So is there the
But no
potential?
minimum.
This is why
They
I'm
have a
asking.
right to refuse all bids.
So my question is, if they get something that comes in below that amount, they could say we're not accepting it.
Right.
Okay, the reason why they set the $30,000 bid, just another thing, is they already have somebody that will pay them that for it. They're putting it out to
So
bid
if
to see
they
if they can
sell
get
it
more.
so if they sell it at 30,000, what's the effect on Northwood?
About $7 to $8 grand, right?
So
Roughly.
we'd have to come up with another 7 and 8 grand.
To pay, yes.
Is there
Roughly.
Is there any other towns that have to come up with money if they?
Oh, yeah.
All 5.
All of them.
All of them do. It's split. It's based on percentage. I think ours is what, 24%?
Ours is 24.81%.
Whatever.
Epping is higher at 32%.
We're the second biggest user, right?
Correct.
So whatever the amount left over is, we're gonna have to pay 24 point whatever that amount is of it.
That's gonna be about $7,000.
7 to 8 roughly. If they sell it for 30, what was it? 15 grand they had left over.
Yes.
If they sell it for the 30, I think it's 15 grand. You take 24% of 15 grand, it's like 8 grand. So I'm basing my price on of making 30, of selling it for 30. If they sell it for more, we might not have to pay anything.
That would be ideal.
That would be ideal. But the question is do we want to jump right on putting it out to bid, or do we want to hold up? Because we're not getting forced to get our own trucking company today.
When do we need?
They didn't give us a date. They basically said that we can hang on with, right now we have East Coast. At that meeting, Shipyard was there. They gave a little brief demonstration. They didn't really talk numbers. They just kind of discussed what they could do for us. My question was, do we want to bring them both in? Because there's really only 2 contractors that will do it. Listen to both of their spiels, get their pricing, and then decide from there. Or do we want to stay with the local guy in Northwood and maybe get a better deal, because the hauling will be, you're not going to haul it as far. Our hauling fee will be less than what it would be for Shipyard. Shipyard offers a little bit more as far as like different programs that we're not currently doing. I asked about those at the meeting, like to Jim's point, I wish he would have stayed.
Wouldn't we be able to put the 2 out for bid?
Correct.
So if we put it out to bid, the local guy can bid too, right?
Correct. But the question, this is the biggest question. To Jim's point, is the local guy, we're going to stay, basically we're going to be doing the things exactly the way we are. There's no other options. We can't change the way we're doing things. Shipyard has a few other, they may cost more, and this is, I asked these questions at the meeting, but they have some other
Options?
Yeah, like they actually accept glass. Like they didn't give me a price. We didn't talk price. They actually have a program where they
So they would give us more flexibility to make some changes down the transfer
yes,
station.
and they actually recycle demo wood. That's something else that we can do. The only concern that I got out of them is I got the kind of notion that they may force us to buy some smaller containers. They don't like the bigger ones. I kind of got that because they work with pup truck, but they didn't really specifically say that, but I kind of got that from them. But that's something that we can do too.
I say we put it out to bid and see what the 2 proposals are and make our decision off the 2 proposals.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I would suggest is, give me a chance to review the contract to just make sure that we're not going to be in breach of the contract that we currently have with Lamprey Co-op. So as soon as I pulled out a couple of different copies from the files that I've had in the town administrator's office. I'm just trying to pinpoint which is the most current, and that way then I can find out what our contractual obligation is. Once I determine that, I think, as DJ suggested, putting it out to bid is likely a good idea.
I personally would like to hear more from Shipyard, because there was a lot of questions that I wanted to ask them that they didn't really want to get into. I mean, I would have loved to have known how much it was going to cost to get rid of glass, just to hear them say that they actually accept it and they're not going to take it to Wakefield. They'll take it to their facility. Was kind of piqued my interest, and they weren't there to negotiate, so we didn't have a chance to discuss how much it was going to cost. They didn't give us a price of how much it would cost us for haul or any of that. It was just strictly them, basically a meet and greet.
Which was a good opportunity, and it did, ultimately, they were not going to be able to give a cost savings for
5 groups,
the
if we
5
stayed in
groups.
5.
So the general consensus from the other towns there is that the co-op will disband. It's just a matter of when, and I think they might be holding off and not in such a rush due to the contractual obligation.
Well, I think they.
So I want to make sure that we're not going to be in breach of that.
I think they still want their $1,100 a year from each town.
Right.
Is what it sounds like to me.
Oh, I mean, when we get, I mean, we have a couple of unknowns, so.
Yeah, so I'm going to be moving forward and looking into that more, and, working with DJ, and we'll keep, reporting back to the board as a whole. So moving on from that, Mary Waldron Beach, Jay Parker did drop off a bucket
Didn't
full
like
of
the sand.
sand. You didn't like it?
It don't look like the beach.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I'll see it tomorrow.
It's actually
right
right there.
Would the public like to view the beach sand?
Hard to tell because it's wet.
It is damp, so it is hard to
Could you
tell.
maybe take that with a blow dryer and kind of
I
make
can
it
do
Or
that.
put it out like on the ground or something where it will dry
so
out.
it can dry out?
Yeah, I can do that. So Jay Parker is moving forward with
You're gonna fix the little
filling
thing,
in
the wall thing
the
there?
gap. There's a gap between two stones. They're going to fill that in. So there is some progress. I wanted them to provide a sample to you, and they can, if the sample is acceptable, if you find it acceptable, once the roads are not posted anymore, Charlie has the roads posted. Once the roads are not posted, he can deliver the final truckload. So I can take some sand out of the bucket, dry it out. We'll see what kind of quality we're looking at and move forward from there.
What else you got?
Bow Lake Road, GMI has not been responsive to coming in to meet with the Board of Selectmen. So I'd like some direction which way the board would like to move.
So, what are we, is that over the extra $3,000 that they want?
No, I mean, that's not necessarily on the table. The drainage
Issue.
repairs. So the board needs to determine, are we fixing it? Are we going to have GMI do it? They've been non-responsive just to come in and meet.
Correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't follow the specs, correct?
That I am not quite sure of either. I don't know that it's been inspected and compared to the specs. So if it was done for the specs and the specs just were not good,
Then it's on
then they
us.
have no obligation to
But
us.
if it wasn't done to our specs, then it's on them.
So I could have
But
the
the,
town's engineer go out and inspect it, and we can move forward from there.
That's probably the best thing we can do. I'm sure somebody in the audience knows the answer to that, but we'll get you in citizens forum.
Speaking public comment to it.
Okay.
So, I mean, if we needed to pursue legal action without an engineer inspecting the area to make sure it was done by specifications or not done by the specifications,
How much,
we don't have a legal.
how much do we owe, how much is the cost of the repair?
That I don't know either.
Because,
More than we own.
what?
More than we own. I'll speak to this in public comment.
No, I'm just asking, because if we're gonna take them to court, and there's some questionability whether we
Right.
win or not, you're gonna incur legal costs.
I mean, I don't think that there is a way around incurring cost at this point.
What?
I don't think that there's a way around incurring cost at this point. Where they're unresponsive, they're not.
So what would happen if, if we, so what do we owe? 3,000? I forget how much we owe.
3,000.
3,000, no, we didn't actually own 3,000, they wanted an extra 3,000,
I'm
right?
gonna speak to after.
So why don't we just not pay them the 3,000?
That's what we voted to do before.
Yeah. And we can
'Cause
do
it's-
that, but
it's
the,
within
We
the-
still need to have them come fix it though, or we
Correct.
need to figure out if we're gonna fix it if it wasn't done. If our
Well, and
specs were
that's-
wrong and we made it wrong, we can't leave it the way it is because then the road's just gonna fall apart again.
Well, I got news. Who did Temperance Hill?
that
Post
I don't
Street's
know.
just as bad.
These roads are falling apart already.
It's crazy.
I mean, did GMI have the paving contract?
Yeah,
So the same one that did this?
yeah, maybe it's something we need to consider when we put
Well,
out paving this
maybe we
year.
shouldn't be going with GMI.
When it comes to paving this year.
And that will be coming before the board in just a few short weeks. So you don't have to take action on it at this time. We can get, again, CMA to go out there and inspect it to see what can be done about the drainage. I can have them take the
Well, I
specifications
can tell you,
and see if it had been done to spec.
I think we need to see if it was done to our specs and then obviously see what we can do to fix it. What do you think? I mean, the biggest thing is, was it done to our specs?
if you're gonna pursue this legally, you gotta have the engineer look at it.
Are you willing to pursue it legally, or you just want the town to take the hit
Well,
and fix it themselves?
I'm gonna be honest, I'll say it in front of the public. You gotta do a financial analysis. Is it gonna cost more to repair it? Is it gonna cost more to repair it
or fight it in
or
court.
fight it in court?
Guess we have to do that analysis too.
So my point is if you actually go full blown, I'm trying to remember, how much was the total project? We talking 20, 30 grand? What was that whole project for that when they fixed it?
About 100 grand, wasn't it? A little less?
When they fixed the drainage,
Yeah.
it was $17,000 total. Then they did another $3,000 worth of
20
work,
grand.
which I did not approve. They started the work before Joe and I got there. Joe told them, don't start any work. It needs to be approved, because that was the agreement we made. If there was any extra work to be done, it was to be, the decision was supposed to be made by the board. And
So,
they went ahead and did the work.
I'd have to see it, before you can make any analysis, you gotta go, what's it gonna cost to fix?
And what's it gonna cost if we happen
What's
to
it
go to
gonna
court?
cost if we have to fight it in court?
Right.
And then
There's
go
a
from
simple way to fix this. We hire an engineer, he comes out, he sets up his transit, he shoots where the pipe comes out. You know, common factor, if the pipe's supposed to be 4 feet in the ground, you gotta go X number of feet before you hit daylight. And if it doesn't add up, obviously, it wasn't done right or our plan was wrong. It's very simple to figure out.
I mean, you
Nothing
don't have to decide this evening if you want to pursue legal action or anything like
We
that
need
at
to do
this
an
point.
analysis. Before we even pursue legal, you gotta figure out if
Right.
we can pursue it legal, which I think we can, but you have to have evidential matter.
Correct.
And we don't have the evidence. I mean, we have, this one says this one says that, but we need a professional engineer to go out there and evaluate
We
it.
need to
Would
have
you
a-
like me to have CMA?
I think that's the first step to take. It's the first step to take and then go from there. Then once he decides whether it was that, and then we can decide. If he decides it wasn't followed, then we can decide whether or not we want to take action and how much it's going to cost us and whether or not it's just worth us just fixing it or just taking action one way or the other. You agree with that?
Yeah. And I will tell you, you probably see it every day because I drive over it every day, but I was, after this winter, seeing what the road looks like that we just did, it's
Yeah.
it's got a crack right down the middle of it. And
There's a couple that look. I've got a couple complaints on the other ones. Dennis Pond is doing the same thing.
Jim's Pond Road's the same way.
Yeah. There's a spot in Dennis Pond Road that looks like it's ready to cave in.
so,
Okay, so I have the general consensus of the board to have CMA go out and assess the situation, Bow Lake Road drainage issue. I'll have them review the specs also. One final thing from me is we got a letter from New Hampshire DOT. They are developing an oversize, overweight permitting software. They are going to be using it to give permits to oversized vehicles traveling on their roads. They are giving the opportunity for towns to have access to the permitting system and issue permits. It's not something that the town has to do. There's no obligation. But I figured I would present it to the board to see if there's any interest.
I was actually at my regular job at the meeting with DOT about this because I do some, my office does overweights, but that's neither here nor there, but yeah. Could you get a little more information?
Yeah, I mean,
So the towns can use the
towns can issue the permits and use the software to.
Is there a cost?
There does not appear to be a cost to the town. However, the town will incur costs because it's added work that, staff has
Doing the
to
permits
do.
and stuff.
Yeah, but like, for example, they're gonna come in and weigh the trucks,
Right.
but we don't have the equipment to do that.
We don't. Now, it's not clear to me if that is something that the state's also going to provide, or if they're just
Well, let
providing
me,
the computer software.
Okay.
And if you want to follow up on that and get more information, that would be
I'll
fantastic.
see what I can find out.
Okay, perfect.
I have a quick selectmen's report. Can you get with New Hampshire the Beautiful, and they will actually make that sign that Jim was talking about for nothing? we can just follow the guidelines that our brochure states for pricing. We used to have one, I don't know where it went. And then the other thing, I brought this up a while ago, I'm not sure if it ever got asked. As far as charging for construction debris, could you reach out to Northwood Auto Salvage and see if we could work out some deal where we could use their scales and maybe charge like, I don't know, I'm just gonna throw numbers out, 6 cents, but give them 3, and then we get, as long as we cover our cost. So that way that would eliminate the guy coming in and him getting charged one price and him getting charged another. You can just skip them. It's right across the street. You just send them across the street. They weigh out, they come over, get rid of it, and then they go back there and weigh. Whether we set it up where they pay there and then we get our cut, or however it works, if they're even interested.
Yeah, I can look into,
You got hot metals too, you can.
I'm only saying Lambert's because it's right across the street. It'd be more convenient.
Yeah.
It'd be more convenient.
Right.
And I'm not even sure they're going to be, it's just another way to charge for demo, because that is a huge thing. Well, it's not even that, it's the employees have a hard time judging what to charge. And if you could just set we get charged by the weight, we're charging by the size. So,
Are they open on weekends?
yeah. Well, that's the other thing. We could also make it, some towns don't accept demo every day.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's something, I'm not saying it's gonna change, but it's something we could definitely look into. Like, say they weren't open Sundays, we just, okay, but they'll open all the other 3 days. So we just don't accept demo on Sundays.
They're not open on Saturdays either.
Sometimes they are. No? No.
They're never open on.
Then I guess it's,
I looked into it a year ago.
we just,
Can we,
something we can check.
Can we,
Yeah,
so,
good.
I mean, we're gonna have public
We're
comment.
good.
If you have any more selectmen comments.
It's just something to look into.
So I got one, I received an email, but I guess I'm gonna ask the board, what's their take on this? On Thursday, I think there's a hearing on, I forget if it's the Senate or House, regarding, there's an amendment to the bill to allow the town municipal moderators to have a little more leverage on, just on the town elections. Do we as a board want to take a formal position on that?
My question is I mentioned this last year.
Like, do we want to reach out to our House delegation, our reps?
yeah, I mean, if there's a
Say,
general consensus.
we would like to have the ability, only on town elections, to, we would like that flexibility, because that snowstorm was a tad.
I mentioned this last year, and we didn't really go about it. Is it legal to, like we do a deliberative session, you post the date, and then you post a second date for a snowstorm?
Well, they're gonna
So in other words,
they're gonna legislate this. They're gonna put it in
I
a bill and then put amendment in, so there's some more flexibility.
Yeah, but would it be prudent for us, even if they do this, when we decide to set elections, say March 14th, to say, if snow, we will have it March 21st?
I don't know that particular statute. If there's a statute
So
that
there's already-
allows for that,
So there's already a date planned.
I would be open to that.
So then there's one date, and if snows, it's this date. So there's no, when's it gonna be, it's,
What do you do if you have the, like,
Snow.
Tuesday thing like we did this year?
well, that's a chance you take no matter when you put it, I
So
guess.
I guess my understanding is this amendment talks a little, actually, I could pull it up on my phone, because I think they sent me an email.
That's something that you can fight no matter when we do it, I guess. You could have a monsoon or a hurricane, you never know.
And if the board does want to take a position on this, I can draft a letter to be sent,
Well, here, I get
to be heard at the hearing.
if I may here.
Just forward it to me.
I'm trying to find it.
I actually get my emails now.
I'll forward it to,
Forward it to Kate, and then Kate can forward it to me.
so do we want to take a position on that, or?
I'm okay with the amendments. That's fine
Or
with
do we
me.
want to reach out to our state rep?
What do you want to do? You want to reach out to state rep?
Here, it's right here. So here, let me read this. This gentleman works for, I know him from the, I believe he works for the New Hampshire Municipal Association. Government Affairs Council. But he was saying, if you've been following legislative action on Senate Bill 438, the bill would give the Secretary of State control over postponing the town elections is scheduled for hearing on Thursday at the Election Law Committee. So they were kind of asking me if I would reach out to, if we would reach out to our elected reps.
Let's reach out to our state reps then.
Yeah.
Let them do
So can I forward this to you?
Yes, you can forward this to me. If the hearing is Thursday,
It's Thursday?
yeah, if it's Thursday,
That's gonna be quick to get our state reps on it, but.
well,
Well, they
I,
must have you got their numbers, don't you?
right. I was.
Do you have their numbers?
Yes, I do. I was gonna suggest
Did you say the
drafting a
board?
letter, but that won't get there in time.
Yeah, you draft it, scan it in, and send it
you
to them
email
in an email.
Are you all available to come in for signatures
I'm
tomorrow?
available all day tomorrow. I'm off all day tomorrow.
So you'll get this and you'll know what it is, right?
Okay, yep.
Too.
I can swing in anytime.
Okay. I'll draft that first thing in the morning, so it's here for your
So
signatures.
hopefully you get this. Let me know if you don't, I'll forward it to you again.
Got it.
Anything else? Anybody else? Any more? No more selectmen reports? I guess,
As a new selectman, would you like to say anything?
I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot from both of you. Thank you very much.
citizens forum, second round. Anybody? Rick, one.
I'd like to speak on the Bow Lake thing. When we did that job, we awarded it to GMI. They did the work, whether it's done right or wrong. There's many opinions on it. We need to get our engineer to go out with a transit and shoot it. The transit doesn't lie. If they're underground 4 feet, it takes X number of feet to come out the daylight. And if you shoot the end of the pipe where they are now, there's only 75 feet from where they are to there. It's pretty obvious it wasn't done according to the plan they had. As far as the other thing to do with... Oh, God.
We can hear you. Keep
can
going.
hear you.
Keep going.
This is just for recording. As far as the other part, the $3,000 extra they're trying to get, they did it without our approval. Joe called me. He said, we need to go up there. He told them not to do it because the board wasn't going to pay any extra money. And you can look at what we wrote. We agreed if there was any extra money, it needed to be discussed before it was done. If they hit ledge or whatever they hit, they took it up on themselves to supposedly do $3,000 worth of work more. As far as I'm concerned, they put in an extra load of stone and a few pieces of pipe that cost $10 a piece, and it doesn't equal $3,000. The work they did, we didn't approve, and I don't think we owe them any money. As far as the other part of it, it's up to our engineering firm to decide that. The transit doesn't lie. And I looked at the print, that pipe's supposed to be in the ground 4 feet. If it isn't in the ground 4 feet and it comes out in less the distance than what it requires, you know they didn't do the work right. Whether you go after them probably isn't feasible, but you know, we tried to fix it in good faith, and there's still water coming up through the road. And as far as the other roads, we got some problems. Like you said, the roads are breaking up, the roads we did last year, and we spent a lot of money.
I saw chunks of asphalt coming up off the road from the plows.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Jonas Pond Road has got a crack in the middle. You can stick a banana in it.
Yeah.
I mean, we spent a lot of money to do that road. I don't know all the answers, but, you know, we need to look at it before we do some roads next year. Because the year before we had problems with the same thing. They did come back, they sealed all the seams, and we called it good, but, you know, we need to look at what we're doing, I guess.
Thank you, Rick.
As far as the beach, what was the verdict on the sand?
It's over here if you want to look at it, but we hadn't decided yet.
What do you mean?
They brought us some. They're going to dump some more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we hadn't decided.
Did you give him the amount what he was going to bring, one load?
He did indicate he could drop another load to finish it off. But again, we're going to dry out the sand a little bit to
make sure that's what we want
I mean,
first.
it's,
See that
you
that's
can't
the-
really.
Did that
Can't
come
really
from
tell it's
Ford?
wet.
Did that come from Ford, that sand?
He did not indicate where this came from. I did receive price quotes from Ford, and I was gonna double check to see where he got the sand from to make sure we're not, you know, if we,
Because the contract says good quality sand.
Right.
And that means stone, sand that doesn't have stones in it, the kids can pick up and throw.
You want sandcastles,
I'm
not stone.
I'm not trying to be a meathead about it, but I don't think we got what we paid for in that aspect. And I don't think one load's gonna do it, but someone else has to deal with it, not me.
Thanks, Rick.
I just want us to get what we paid for.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I don't think the mother's gonna appreciate it, it's throwing stones at each other.
With all due respect, I understand you've just stepped into the chairman's job. Perhaps buying the latest copy of Robert's Rules of Order might be helpful. Number one, you have 3 selectmen there. Ignoring the newest one is not appropriate.
I didn't think I did. I asked her every time if she had any questions, any comments.
No, you didn't.
Pretty sure I tried.
Most of the time, you're facing away. You pass something to her, you're still looking this way and throwing it. Normally, when you have a 3-person board, one being the chairman, motions and seconds need to be made by the other 2, not the chairman.
I didn't force her to not do it. I mean, I'm just seconding the motion. It wasn't like I was taking away.
When you
That's
only
not what I was
have-
trying to do.
No,
you
I'm
only have
learning
3
today.
I know. I wasn't trying
Just need
to.
the second,
Some perception people take it.
The first and
I'm sorry, I'll just-
motion and second needs to be done by the other 2, not the chairman.
So further next
So
time you
I'm
have to
sorry,
second.
I, because it's my first one, I really didn't.
Technically,
it's kinda like
I didn't
went
know
with
this
it,
was an
so-
issue, but it's never been an issue before until tonight. This is
So,
technically,
I'll second.
technically what usually happens is you sit here, Scott sits here. Generally, you're all the one that makes all the motions. Scott usually seconds it, and then I facilitate it. But I didn't really think it was that huge of a deal, but apparently it is.
There's no set order.
Apparently it is, but that's the way it has been done, but
well, I would suggest.
It's
that
in
we
Robert's
finish
rules.
her-
If we really adopted Robert's rules,
Robert's rules is the best way to run it.
might be the best way, but if we adopted it.
all right, that's enough.
Okay. One other thing. If you're reading off, you know, so many yay votes, you ask for the other votes. You don't just naturally assume if you don't hear it, it's not there.
Most of the time I did hear it, it was kind of quiet.
I did vote. I didn't vote on 2 of the things that started before me. I didn't.
If I ignored
Right.
your vote, I certainly wasn't trying to.
Thank you.
I heard you say you abstained a couple times back there.
Yeah, I didn't know there was the thing you guys were talking about that you started before.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything really. Just from reading the email in my packet.
I think because she's new and it's her first time, she's just taking it in to see what's going on.
But I appreciate
I know it
your
was
concern.
quite
Then
overwhelming
it
my
would
first
be the place of the chairman to make sure that it gets done right. Not just assume because she doesn't do something that you're the chair.
Thanks.
It's your responsibility to make sure that it's done right. And that hasn't been happening.
Anybody else?
Happy to see me here. So I just had a couple things to say. First off, I'm really happy to see that there's so much interest in the rec commission position. I think the rec commission is a very important part of the town government and affects a lot of people. So I'm glad to see there's a lot of passion for that. I think people will appreciate that. The second thing is that with Ms. Boudreau being on the rec commission and Mr. Hodgson being the representative for the select board, we do have the situation where we're going to have a quorum of selectmen on the rec commission.
She actually has to
Can
resign.
I talk my
She
3
has to
minutes? Can I
resign.
talk for
Can't
3
be on
minutes?
the rec commission.
Can I talk
as
for
a
my 3
selectman.
minutes? Is it okay if I talk for my 3 minutes? Right? So having 2 people on the rec commission does run into the problem with where you may have a quorum of selectmen making town decisions, right? So with that in mind, it does fall under the purview of RSA 91-A:2. So what that entails is that you would have to have these meetings posted, and you would have to have minutes taken. They have to be public meetings, and the minutes would have to be available for, after 72 hours after the meeting. And if you do these things, it should be fine. It's not a problem at all. It's not an issue if you do that. So I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing you guys do good work on the commission, and this will be great. The only other thing, that's what I wanted to mention earlier when I raised my hand. The only thing I want to be, as chairman, it is totally your right to allow comments from the audience or not. I mean, being in the same position on the school board, I totally understand that. I would caution you to be careful about allowing some people's comments and not other people's comments, only because when you do that, you're really running afoul of maybe the First Amendment there of free speech rights. Right? If you're letting some people speak, either let everybody speak when they want to, or don't let people speak at all. Either one, I think, is fine. But to pick and choose who you're going to let talk based on what they're going to say is problematic, because now you're censoring content, right? So I would just like to point that out. That be careful. That's all. I know I have to be that careful doing the same thing, and it's not fun. And
I think people need to just relax and let the meeting just unfold and not take everything so personally. That's what really should happen, but that's just my opinion.
Hi, Amy Hanovan. I didn't want to get up and talk, but I feel really strongly about Ms. Boudreau's commitment to Rec Commission. She's been to every single event for the last year and a half. She comes to every meeting. She's always prepared. She's fully invested in it, and I think she should have been the one to take the position because it's the right thing for the town. Mr. Hodgson did not attend very many meetings at all, and I'm really turned off by the way he treated her at this meeting, and I hope he doesn't behave the same way when he attends our meetings for Rec Commission, because people will not want to join. Thank you.
I'm interested in what it involves to be in the recycling committee.
Simple. You just come in and take an oath of office.
Okay.
That's it.
Who do I see?
Kate.
Kate?
And bring 3 friends.
Really, you don't need to bring
What?
anything.
Bring some friends to join.
There you go.
Well, just because when Joe was here, he said he got all the money that he could out of the dump, and when I go to the dump, I see aluminum, copper in the dumpster that they're selling for light iron that could make more revenue for the town. I go to the dump today, and the 2 guys that work there are walking around doing nothing where they should be going through that metal and making all the money they can for the state. They're getting paid, and the town's losing money.
Trust me, we know that the revenue's down about 50% since 2 years ago.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not that we don't know that it's not down. We definitely know that it's not where it's supposed to be.
I've done it for over 45 years, and I think the metal should be getting dropped off, and the guys ought to be going through it, and then they throw it in the dumpster. It would, and you need to get someone in there that has experience, not the 2 guys that are there. So if I was on the committee, would I have anything to say to them and get it so it's done like that?
Basically, you're an advisory person. If you want to answer, you can, but
No, it's fine, I'm sorry.
you would come to us and you would bring ideas to us,
Yeah,
and then we would either decide that we're going to enforce them or not enforce them. Generally, the way it has worked in the past, it didn't work this way with the former recycling committee, is we would give you a task, like say we decided that we wanted you to figure out how to recycle certain metals a different way, then you would do your research and come to us and say, okay, we feel we can make this much money doing it this way, this much money doing it this way, this much money doing it this way, and then we would decide which one of those three ways we'd want to do it, or whether we want to stay our way, that we're doing it now. That's usually how it works.
okay. All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I know how to make money with
To your
scrap.
point, I've tried to spend a lot of time down there. I have a lot of experience down there.
Okay.
But I feel really out of place because I don't want to hover over them.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd be more than willing to help them, and I would hope that if they wanted to help, they would ask. But for me to stand down there and basically tell them how to do their job is not really what I want to do.
right. I understand. Well, you don't have time for that.
Oh, I do. I just don't want to do it. I have the time. I just don't want to do it.
I mean, Dick
I don't
knows
feel I
me.
should have to tell them how to do their job.
Dick knows me, and he knows what I can do with steel and how to make money out
Okay.
of it. So,
I'd suggest just joining the recycling committee. Why do I just
I'm gonna
keep
come
saying
and
rec
talk to
committee?
Kate tomorrow anyway, so I'll talk.
Anybody else? Any more?
And your wife is joining too, I believe.
Any more?
What was that?
I think your wife is joining too.
Any more?
I always join.
Any more? Going once?
We recycle.
Going twice? Any more citizens forum? Going once? Twice? No more. Okay, we're now going to go into non-public. What are we going under?
We are going under A, B, and C.
So I'll make a motion to go under non-public under RSA 191A:3, A, B, and C.
Correct.
Second,
Gonna have to do a roll call. Oh, I shouldn't have made that motion, sorry. Donald Hush and I.
Beth Boudreau, aye.
Scott Breyer, I vote yes.
We are now in non-public. I'll make a motion to come out of non-public.
Second, you need to do a roll call.
Roll call. Donald Hush and I.
Scott Breyer, aye.
Beth Boudreau, aye.
Okay, so that passed 3-0. And then I'd like to make a motion to seal the non-public minutes.
I second it.
We don't need to do a roll call on that.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any motions that need to be made in public?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, because,
Are you tired?
no, because it's time.
I second.
Roll call, Donald Hush and I.
No, you don't have to do a roll
All right,
call to
motion.
adjourn. Just vote.
Call for a vote. All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. We are now adjourned.